Chapter 157, Is Wu Haoyu going to get a reduced sentence? Lin Chen picked up Lin Xiaoqian and kissed her on the left cheek, while Su Mengyao kissed her on the right. Thank you, Qianqian. Lin Chen and Su Mengyao looked at each other and said. They really had to thank Lin Xiaoqian, she was a great help. Without Lin Xiaoqian, they would never have met again, and without her, their relationship would not have progressed so quickly. He. Lin Xiaoqian smiled sweetly. Click, click. Yang Qingyue and Chen Mei took photos. They were careful to make sure that the bride price was not included in their photos. Su Zhongting and Zhao Jingshuo came to the wedding, and the tens of millions of bride price included in the photos could easily lead to associations. It would be bad if it affected Su Zhongting's career. Everyone, there is one last part to the engagement ceremony. Please sit down, we will have dinner together. Su Guofeng greeted with a smile. Lin Chen and the others took their seats one after the other. Su Mengyao sat on Lin Chen's left, and Lin Xiaoqian sat on Lin Chen's right. Of course, Lin Chen did not cook the meal. However, he had a very happy time eating. After dinner, Lin Chen and the others were about to leave the Su family. Today was the engagement, and Su Mengyao would not leave with them. Mom, aren't we going home? Lin Xiaoqian asked in puzzlement. We're not going home today. Su Mengyao shook her head with a slight blush. Lin Chen kissed Lin Xiaoqian and said, Cici, Dad will come and pick you up tomorrow and take Mom home. Dad, why can't we go home today? Lin Xiaoqian was puzzled. Lin Chen explained, today, Mom and Dad are getting engaged, and Grandma and Grandpa still have a lot to say to Mom, so of course Mom can't leave with them at this time. You and your mother need to keep your grandparents company, understand? Lin Xiaoqian nodded, not really understanding. Lin Chen looked at Su Guofeng and Yang Qingyue. Dad, Mom, I'll go back first. Thank you for agreeing to let Mengyao and I get married. Be careful on the road. Yang Qingyue reminded him. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen with love in her eyes. She didn't say much, but at this moment, silence spoke volumes. Soon, Lin Chen and the others left. Mengyao, come back to reality. Liang Chunhua teased. Su Mengyao withdrew her gaze, her face turning slightly red. Aunt Liang, I wasn't daydreaming. Really? Cici, do you think Mom was just daydreaming? Lin Xiaoxi shook her head. She said seriously, Mom wasn't daydreaming, she just wanted to go home with Dad. Su Mengyao's face instantly turned even redder. Liang Chunhua laughed and said, Cici is amazing. Su Gu, Qingyue, we won't disturb you anymore. Soon, Zhao Jingshuo and Liang Chunhua left. As for Su Lao and Su Zhongting, they came with Lin Chen and the others, so they naturally left together. Hubby, you take Cici. Mengyao, you accompany Mom upstairs and chat. Yang Qingyue said with a smile. Her daughter was engaged, and she had something she wanted to say to Su Mengyao. Okay. Su Guofeng nodded. Son, there are still 3 months until the wedding. Mengyao's mental illness should be able to recover within 3 months, right? Chen Mei asked from the car. Lin Chen, you guys have asked me about the time before, and I said September, so naturally she should be able to recover by September. Should? Yang Hai's brows furrowed slightly. Lin Chen said, Dad, my medical skills are improving, and Mengyao and I are getting closer and closer, so under normal circumstances, she should definitely be able to recover in 3 months. If it's fast, it might be possible in a month or 2. He has already kissed her on the forehead today, so is it too late to kiss her on the lips? Once they have progressed to kissing, there will be no problem for him to marry Su Mengyao, even if someone causes trouble. At the wedding, they can kiss in public, and Su Mengyao will accept it. You hurry up. The wedding date has been set and cannot be changed. Lin Hai said, you don't need to worry about the house. The house will definitely be renovated. Their house is currently under intensive renovation, and they have paid enough to the renovation company to arrange for a lot of workers. It is expected to be renovated within 2 months. There is still 1 month before the wedding. The renovation uses environmentally friendly materials, and with frequent ventilation, there will be no problem staying for a few days during the wedding. Wu family. Wu Yangqing's eyes revealed a look of joy. He had just received news that his son's sentence might be commuted. The total sentence was 3 years, and more than 2 years had passed. If the sentence was commuted, his son Wu Haoyu would be able to get out soon. Drip. Su Guofeng received a phone call. What is it, Lawyer Gua? Su Guofeng asked. On the other end of the line was a top-notch lawyer he had previously retained. His name was Guo Qiguang. Guo Qiguang said, "Su, I just got news that Wu Haoyu will probably get a sentence reduction." Su Guofeng's face changed. "Lawyer Guo, why will he get a sentence reduction? He has asked some people for help, and Wu Haoyu should have to serve the full 3 years before he is released." Guo Qiguang said, "Wu Haoyu's behavior in prison has been quite good, and the Wu family has probably hired someone to help them. President Su, the sentence will probably not be commuted within 10 days, but after 10 days, there is a high probability that Wu Haoyu's sentence will be commuted." Su Guofeng said with a stern voice, "I understand. These 10 days will be a time for both sides to play their cards." After hanging up the phone, Su Guofeng frowned. His daughter's engagement was announced today, and he just received this news. Could it be that someone is deliberately causing him trouble at this time? "Grandpa, are you unhappy? Shall I tell you a story, so that you can cheer up?" Lin Xiaoxi looked at Su Guofeng and said. Su Guofeng's face revealed a smile. "No, Grandpa is not unhappy. Your mother and father got engaged today, how could Grandpa not be happy?" "Grandpa, but you are just not happy," Lin Xiaoxi said earnestly. "Su Guofeng, sis, I am a little unhappy, but it's not because of your parents' engagement. It's something else at work that's making me unhappy. Kiss me and I'll be happy." Lin Xiaoxi kissed Su Guofeng. "Grandpa, don't be unhappy. If you need help, you can ask Dad. Dad is the best, he can help you." Su Guofeng nodded. "I'll do as you say. You play for a while, and I'll go make a phone call." At that moment, Yang Qingyue and Su Mengyao came downstairs. Su Mengyao said doubtfully, "Cici, did you make Grandpa angry?" Lin Xiaoxi said, "Mom, I'm a good girl. Grandpa just got a phone call and then he got upset. I told Grandpa to call Dad." Su Mengyao frowned. On a day like today, there's no way something would make Su Guofeng unhappy. In the study, Su Guofeng dialed Lin Chen's phone number. "Lin Chen, find a place to pull over for a while." Lin Chen quickly pulled over and parked the car, and asked, "Dad, what's the matter?" Su Guofeng said in a deep voice, "Mengyao's former lawyer Guo Qiguang just called, saying that Wu Haoyu's sentence may be reduced. If his sentence is reduced, he will be released soon." Lin Chen's face changed slightly. Wu Haoyu's release would likely affect Su Mengyao's condition. Chapter 158, The Private Kitchen is Ready to Open. "Dad, does Mengyao know about this?" Lin Chen asked. "She doesn't know, but if Wu Haoyu gets out, Mengyao will definitely know." "Will it affect her illness?" Lin Chen, Mengyao is still a long way from recovery, and if she is affected by a shock, the possibility of her getting better is very low. In that case, it will be much more difficult for her to recover. "Dad, is the Wu family getting help? Otherwise, why would the Wu family do this with their energy? The Su family's gathering, the Wu family must have known about it. The Wu family should also have an understanding of the attitude of the Su family." Zhao Huayuan was forced to resign under pressure. Wu Haoyu only has more than half a year left in his sentence, so why would the Wu family cause trouble? Compared to the interests of the family, which is more important, serving half a year less in prison or not? The Wu family must have received powerful help, but I don't know what kind of help it is yet. I'll find someone to look into it," Su Guofeng said in a deep voice. Lin Chen, "Dad, do you think the Wu family wants to immigrate? They will take revenge before immigrating and then go far away. This is unlikely. The Wu family has a lot of assets that are not so easy to transfer." Su Guofeng denied this possibility. Lin Chen thought for a moment and said, "Dad, I'll talk to Su Lao. The Wu family is quite powerful behind the scenes and they're not exactly friendly with the Su family." Lin Chen hung up the phone and Lin Dong asked, "Son, what's wrong?" Lin Chen frowned and said, "The guy who harmed Mengyao is called Wu Haoyu. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison and only a few months of that sentence remain. Now it's possible that he'll be released soon. If he gets out, it might affect Mengyao's condition." Chen Mei's expression tightened. "So what do we do?" Lin Chen smiled, "Mom and Dad, don't worry, even if it does affect her, I can still make Mengyao recover. We just have to try not to let that happen, otherwise it might affect the wedding in 3 months." Lin Dong and Chen Mei nodded. "Son, there's nothing we can do to help with this, but we can at least try not to make things worse. Let's go back today," Lin Dong said after a moment's consideration. Lin Chen shook his head, "It's not that urgent. She still wants to send you to the airport tomorrow, and she might cry tomorrow if you leave today. Let's go back first. Half an hour later, Lin Chen and the others arrived home. Su Lao Su Zhongting is closer to them, so they must have arrived home. DD. Lin Chen called Su Lao. Lin Xiao, what's the matter? Su Lao's hearty voice came over. Lin Chen said a little embarrassed, Uncle Su, there's something I want to trouble you to find out for me. Wu Haoyu from the Wu family is about to be released. What are the chances of him getting out? Uncle Su was puzzled. Wu Haoyu? Lin Chen said, he's the one who harmed Meng Yao. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison, and today, news came out that his sentence might be commuted. I see. I can ask about this for you. Su Laoda said. After hanging up the phone, Su Laoda called an old friend. His old friend used to work in the judicial system and is now retired, but he still has a lot of connections in the judicial system. Lao Zhang, let me ask you something. Today, Xiaolin and Meng Yao had an engagement banquet, and Zhongting and I ate there. Before we could finish digesting the meal, this happened. My old face has been slapped. Su Laoda said. Zhang Laoda, an old friend of Su Lao, on the other end of the phone, Lao Su, I didn't know about this situation. I'll ask you now and call you back in half an hour. 10 minutes later, Zhang Laoda called back, Lao Su, I know what happened. It might be related to your family. What? Su Lao was stunned. Zhang Laoda, there are a lot of people who are jealous of the position in Zhongting. Since you are getting close to the Su family, this should be aimed at the Su family, forcing Zhongting to make a mistake. Old Su, who is it? Old Su, it's hard to say, I'm not sure. There are more than 2 people who are jealous of Zhongting's position. Not only people from this side of the city, but also from other places. Old Su asked, can Wu Haoyu get out? If there is no intervention, when will he get out? Old Zhang, Wu Haoyu's performance is acceptable, it is possible that his sentence will be reduced or not reduced, depending on the situation. Without intervention, he may be able to get out in about a month. Thank you. After hanging up the phone, Su Lao told Su Zhongting. Then he called Lin Chen and told him the situation. Lin Xiao, I'm sorry. This matter may still be because of our Su family. Su Lao told apologetically. Lin Chen hurriedly said, Su Lot, don't say that. Zhang Lao just said that, it may not really be the case. Even if it really is, you can't blame your Su family. You were able to witness my engagement to Meng Yao, and we are very grateful. Old Su, Lin, Zhongtian said that he would mention it, and there shouldn't be many problems delaying his release. But if a powerful force intervenes, it will be inconvenient for him to do much. Lin Chen gratefully said, Old Su, thank you. It's good to be able to delay it. It seems that the private kitchen has to get started. Lin Chen muttered to himself. It's not appropriate for the Su family to help out in this matter. If he intervenes, he will lose out. The best way is for him to increase his influence. If he openly revealed himself as Lin Yu, he could quickly increase his influence, but the incident from that year might be exposed. If it became a hot topic of conversation, it would have a great impact on Su Mengyao. First, he could use the private kitchen to enhance his connections without this problem. As long as his personal connections and influence increased, the people behind the Wu family would have to consider whether to continue. In the blink of an eye, it was the next day. Lin Chen arrived at the Su family. Dad. Lin Xiaoqian ran happily towards him as soon as Lin Chen entered. Cici, have you missed your father? Lin Chen asked, kissing Lin Xiaoxi. Lin Xiaoxi nodded, I have, Daddy, I miss you so much. Daddy, Mommy misses you too, hee hee. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao, who blushed slightly, honey, you're here so early. Have you had breakfast yet? Lin Chen nodded, I have. Cici, you and Mommy hurry up and eat breakfast. After we finish eating breakfast, we'll go back and see Grandpa and Grandma. Su Mengyao and the others went to have breakfast. Su Guofeng ushered Lin Chen into the study. Lin Chen, do you have a good idea? Su Guofeng asked with a grave expression. Lin Chen said, Dad, this matter is actually simple to handle, just become stronger yourself. If you are strong enough, all evils will be easily repelled. My personal chef is going to open for business. Su Guofeng, time is running out. Will it be in time? Lin Chen laughed, Wu Haoyu's sentence will not be commuted within half a month, so I will just work harder for the next half month. Just then, Lin Chen's phone rang. The number was not saved in Lin Chen's phone, but it was not unfamiliar. Zhang Qingyuan had told him about this number. "Hello, this is Lin Chen." Lin Chen answered the phone. On the other end of the line was a middle-aged man. He frowned secretly. "A young man? How good can a young man's cooking be? Mr. Zhang said you are the god of cookery. You charge $1 million for a meal and you even bring your own ingredients?" The middle-aged man said. Lin Chen said indifferently, "I'm not sure if I deserve the title of culinary god, but that is indeed my rule." "Do you need a reservation?" The middle-aged man raised an eyebrow. "Interesting. Okay, I'll make a reservation for tomorrow, is that okay?" Lin Chen, "Yes, for lunch or dinner?" The middle-aged man said, "Lunch. Just the two of us, Mr. Zhang and I." Chapter 159, Dad Kissed Mom. Lin Chen hung up the phone, and Su Guofeng asked, "Lin Chen, who made the reservation?" Lin Chen smiled and said, "Yu Haiyan made the reservation." "Him?" Su Guofeng's eyes showed surprise. "Dad, you know him?" Su Guofeng nodded and said, "Yes, he travels around the world tasting food all year round and is a top foodie. He inherited billions of assets from his family, and even if he doesn't do anything, this money is enough for him to eat and drink for 10 lifetimes." Lin Chen said with some surprise, "If he doesn't do anything, then no one will target his tens of billions of assets?" Su Guofeng, there are many ways to gain connections. As a top gourmet, he knows a lot of rich people, and they can help each other. In the past, someone set him up in a gambling game, but he didn't fall for it. This incident made him very angry, and he teamed up with the rest of them to make the person who set him up go bankrupt. Lin Chen smiled. Having a temper is good. It's not easy for ordinary people to enter this circle, but if you integrate into this circle, the benefits are considerable. Su Guofeng said. Lin Chen laughed, "I'm not trying to integrate into their circle, I just want them to be useful to me in the future." Dad, don't worry too much about the Wu family. It's actually not difficult to resolve this matter. If I tell Wu Yangqing that I am Lin Yu, the Wu family will likely not take any further action. But I don't want that. Su Guofeng, you want to take further action against the Wu family? Yes. Lin Chen nodded. The Wu family wants to play with us, so let's play with them. The deeper they get, the greater the loss will be. Su Guofeng, originally, I wanted to deal with the company's affairs and then spare my hands to target the Wu family, but I didn't expect the Wu family to start first, which is quite good. Lin Chen smiled. He also remembered the Wu family's affairs. He wanted to have internal strength before targeting the Wu family. Dad, let's go out. When the two of them got outside, Lin Xiaoxi and Su Mengyao were eating breakfast, while Yang Qingyue and Su Guofeng had already finished eating. Dad, these noodles are not delicious. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Lin Chen pitifully. Su Mengyao said, "It's not that bad. Honey, don't make her breakfast again." Xiaoxi, you can't be a picky eater, or else Dad won't cook anymore. Lin Chen stroked Lin Xiaoxi's little head and said, "Xiaoxi, there's nothing I can do even if Mom says that. And Mom is right, you shouldn't be a picky eater. Hurry up and finish eating, we still have to go back and drop off Grandpa and Grandma." Su Mengyao, honey, in the future, don't book tickets for Mom and Dad, just use my plane to take them back. Lin Chen shook his head, "There's no need, I booked them first class, they'll be quite comfortable. They're not used to flying alone in a private jet." 3 hours later, Lin Chen and the others arrived at the airport. Goodbye, Grandpa and Grandma. Grandpa and Grandma, I'll miss you. Lin Xiaoxian kept waving her small hands. As Lin Dong and the others left, Lin Xiaoxian said in a baby voice, "Daddy, I want to learn to fold paper airplanes again. I want to fold bigger ones that fly farther." Lin Chen's eyes lit up. It depends on Lin Xiaoxian's interest. Recently, Lin Xiaoxian's interest has not been in this, so he has not taught it, and naturally there has not been much progress in this area. It's too slow for him to progress by reading books on his own. Okay. If you want to learn, I'll teach you. My dear, you drive to the private kitchen. I have a client coming for lunch tomorrow. Lin Chen smiled. Su Mengyao was puzzled, starting tomorrow? Mr. Zhang recommended a good client. Su Mengyao soon returned in the car. Lin Chen was in the back seat teaching Lin Xiaoxi how to fold paper airplanes. She had folded them before, and there were paper airplanes on the cart. It was comfortable. 5 minutes passed, and a lot of information kept flooding into Lin Chen's mind. He had learned on his own, gaining knowledge bit by bit. Teaching Lin Xiaoxi was like a large water pump constantly filling her up. And what was systematically pumped in could be quickly digested. Lin Chen had been teaching for more than an hour on the way, and he had gained a lot. He just didn't know how long Lin Xiaoxi's interest would last. "Dad, what kind of place is this?" Lin Xiaoxi asked curiously as they entered the private kitchen. "This is where Dad works, but Dad only comes here occasionally, and will still spend most of the time with you. Is that okay?" Lin Chen replied gently. Lin Xiaoxi nodded. "Yes, Dad, it's so beautiful here. Can I come here to play in the future?" "Of course you can. But not when Dad is working. When Dad is not working, he can bring you here to play." Lin Chen replied. "Su Mengyao, honey, do you want a signboard?" Lin Chen thought for a moment and said, "Not for now, let's talk about it later. Anyway, we don't need a signboard to attract customers. You take Shishi to play. And we'll eat here this noon." Lin Chen smiled. He had to try out the facilities here, and if there were any problems, he could deal with them. It would be embarrassing to find out about the problems tomorrow. Su Mengyao was stunned. "Eat here? Shen Shang wants to come over to our place. She's already on her way." Lin Chen said, "Just let her come over. It's close to our place anyway, so it's easy for her to come over. She didn't go to the engagement, so it's a good opportunity to entertain her today. Shen Shang is sort of a matchmaker. She takes Lin Xiaoxi into her heart when they have something to do." Su Mengyao nodded. "Okay, I'll send her the location." Half an hour later, Shen Shang arrived. "Auntie Ching Ching." Lin Xiaoxi called sweetly when she saw Shen Shang. Shen Shang picked Lin Xiaoxi up. "Cici, have you thought about Auntie Ching Ching? Auntie Ching Ching really misses you." "I have. Auntie Ching Ching, I'll tell you a secret." Lin Xiaoxi whispered. Only Su Mengyao, who was standing next to her, could hear her. "What's the secret?" "Lin Xiaoxi, Mom and Dad are engaged." "Oh, and Dad even kissed Mom." Su Mengyao. "Cici, I can hear you." Shen Shang scratched Lin Xiaoxi's little nose. "Auntie Ching Ching knows that your parents are engaged. Auntie Ching Ching didn't come over yesterday because she had something to do." Lin Xiaoxi, "Yesterday wasn't Dad who cooked the meal?" Shen Chang. She coughed lightly and said, "Is Auntie Ching Ching that delicious?" "That's not why I didn't come yesterday." Su Mengyao told her that she really had something to do yesterday. "Auntie Ching Ching, you are." Lin Xiaoxi said seriously. Su Mengyao burst out laughing. "Cici, what are you saying? You're just as much of a foodie as your aunt." Lin Xiaoxi giggled. "Auntie Ching Ching, I'm a little foodie, and you're a big foodie." Shen Chang. "Okay, I'm a foodie. It's a blessing to be able to eat." It didn't take long for Lin Chen to finish cooking. There were 4 people and 6 dishes. Shen Shang saw the food on the table and swallowed. "I really want to take a picture and post it on WeChat," Shen Shang said. Lin Chen laughed and said, "Shen Shang, you can take pictures and post them on WeChat, but don't tell anyone where you ate." Click, click. Shen Shang took more than 10 photos after hearing Lin Chen say that. Lin Chen's dishes were like works of art. Lin Chen also took a photo. He sent the photo to Yu Haiyan. Yu Haiyan was about to eat, and there were several dishes of food on his table. This. Seeing the photo, Yu Haiyan froze. The dishes in Lin Chen's photo were like works of art, and compared to those dishes, the few dishes in front of him were nothing. Chapter 160, You Have a Lot of Rules. Yu Haiyan looked at the photo and swallowed. "Mr. Yu, the food at our hotel is absolutely superb." The hotel manager, standing 2 or 3 meters away, said with a smile. He saw Yu Haiyan swallow. It should be their food that has piqued Yu Haiyan's interest. As a super rich man and top foodie, Yu Haiyan's good reviews can bring a lot of benefits to the hotel. But it is simply impossible to use money to make Yu Haiyan speak well. Yu Haiyan's gaze settled on the few dishes in front of him. At first, he thought they were just so-so. Now he felt that the appearance and aroma. The appearance was not good, and the aroma was just so-so. He could only hope that the food tasted good. After all, taste was the most important thing when it came to food. Yu Haiyan's brows furrowed slightly when he took the first bite. He tasted the second dish, and then the third. He only took a bite of each dish. Someone else. Yu Haiyan shook his head and said. He had 6 dishes in front of him, and he didn't bother to taste the other 3. Mr. Yu, are these not good? The manager's face changed slightly and said, "This is personally made by the chef of their hotel. It's mediocre." Yu Heian shook his head and said, "Try someone else." The hotel was well prepared, and the dishes of the other chef were quickly served. This time, Yu Heian didn't even eat 3 bites. He stood up after the second bite. "You should consider changing the chef." Yu Heian left with a comment. Normally, even if it's not very tasty, he will eat a little more. After all, he also needs to fill his stomach. But after seeing the photos Lin Chen sent, he couldn't eat at the moment. "Mr. Lin, is this your work? It's almost art." "Mr. Lin, I've also reserved tomorrow's dinner." Yu Heian sent a message to Lin Chen. But Lin Chen was eating at the moment and didn't check the message. Half an hour later, Lin Chen called back, "Mr. Yu, I only take 3 or 5 tables per month. The restaurant can take a few more tables in the first month after it opens, but the same person can only make a reservation once a month at most." Yu Heian looked weird. There's actually such a rule. Is this because he's making too much money? Then I'll make a reservation in my wife's name. Lin Chen. "Mr. Yu, I'm sorry, the reservation is not through. You can recommend a friend with strong capabilities to make a reservation, and you can come together." Yu Heian frowned. "Mr. Lin, don't you think you have too many rules?" Lin Chen said calmly, "I'm not doing this to make money, I just want to make more friends. If you think I have too many rules, you can cancel the reservation." Yu Heian. He has tasted a lot of food, but he has never encountered such a stubborn person. Other people's customers are their gods. Lin Chen has a bunch of rules here. "Mr. Lin, I will come here on time tomorrow. I will have the ingredients delivered to your restaurant 3 hours in advance." Yu Heian hung up after saying that. After thinking for a while, he called Zhang Qingyuan. "Mr. Zhang, isn't Lin Chen too big a star for you to recommend him? I can't believe he refused to make a dinner reservation as well." Zhang Qingyuan said on the other end of the phone, "Mr. Yu, you should be happy that you were able to make a reservation with Master Lin. You'll see tomorrow." Yu Heian was astonished. "Mr. Zhang, is it really that amazing?" "Zhang Qingyuan, you'd better not eat breakfast tomorrow, otherwise you may not be able to eat much at lunch." "I plan to eat less tonight too." Yu Heian couldn't believe it and said, "That's amazing. Zhang Qingyuan, I've attended a few state banquets, and the food prepared by Master Lin is at least 2 streets ahead. Mr. Yu, you have to be polite to Master Lin tomorrow. Otherwise, you won't be able to eat in the future, and you'll get me into trouble." Yu Heian froze for a moment. Will it also implicate the recommender? Zhang Qingyuan said, "Master Lin didn't say it explicitly, but if the person who made the recommendation has a problem, it is estimated that they will not be able to make an appointment in the future. You should eat tomorrow before recommending someone else." After hanging up the phone, Yu Heian felt itchy. He knew that Zhang Qingyuan was not a person who liked good food, and even after he had eaten it once, he was still so fond of it. Could it be that there are banned substances in the food? Yu Heian muttered to himself. Of course, he was just thinking this, and he knew that Lin Chen would never do such a thing, otherwise he would not be friends, but would seriously offend each customer. In the blink of an eye, it was the next day. After breakfast, Lin Chen taught Lin Xiaoqian to practice Tai Chi. Su Mengyao watched from the side. Lin Xiaoqian's Tai Chi was a bit like the real thing. Even recently, on the day of the engagement, Lin Chen had also taught Lin Xiaoqian, and Lin Xiaoqian did not reject it. Half an hour passed and the practice was over. "System, how long until I can have internal strength?" Lin Chen asked in his mind. You can start having internal strength in 10 hours, but each practice session is short, so the improvement speed is relatively slow. System, host, the current accumulated duration is 9 hours and 36 minutes, and you still need 24 minutes. Lin Chen was delighted. He would be able to start having internal strength tomorrow. However, having internal strength and being strong with internal strength are 2 different things. It takes 50 hours to reach the master level of the Tai Chi secret method. System, can Lin Xiaoqian practice for an hour a day? Lin Chen asked in his mind again. Half an hour a day is a slow improvement. System, each practice session must be separated by at least 6 hours. Lin Chen massaged Lin Xiaoqian to relax her. "Xiaoqian, Daddy has to go to work. When Daddy comes back, do you still want to practice again?" Lin Xiaoqian nodded. "Daddy, I do. If I become even more powerful, I can protect Mummy, hee hee." Su Mengyao felt warm in her heart. Lin Xiaoxi is a little cotton padded jacket that sometimes lets in the wind, but most of the time it's still very warm. Honey, can Xiaoxi handle it when she's so little? I think she gets pretty tired after practicing once. Su Mengyao asked. Lin Chen smiled, if there's more than a 6-hour interval, and I give her a little relaxation, there won't be any problems. Her physique needs to be improved. Lin Xiaoxian looked at Lin Chen and asked curiously, Daddy, how good are you now? I want to see. Lin Chen laughed, Xiaoxian, push this coffee table. See if you can push it. Their coffee table was made of solid wood and was very heavy, estimated to be 100 or 2 caddies. Yeah. Lin Xiaoxian went to the edge of the coffee table. She pushed with all her might with her 2 small hands. But how could she, so small, possibly push such a heavy coffee table? Lin Chen walked over and rested one hand at the bottom of the coffee table. Lift. With a little help from the other hand, Lin Chen lifted the 100-200 kilograms coffee table with just one hand. Su Mengyao watched in awe. Cici, how did it go? Lin Chen put down the coffee table and smiled. Lin Xiaoxi patted her hands. Daddy, you're so great, you have so much strength, I want to become a strong man too. Lin Chen kissed Lin Xiaoxi. Cici, you have to work hard then. Lin Chen got up and looked at Su Mengyao and said, Honey, I have to go to the store. Some ingredients need to be processed in advance. Su Mengyao took the initiative to go up to Lin Chen and gave him a hug. Lin Xiaoxian said in a baby voice, Daddy, you guys are kissing. The nursery rhyme goes like this, if you love me, hug me. If you love me, kiss me. Chapter 161, He is the Uncrowned King. Lin Chen said, when Daddy kisses Mummy, Shishi, you have to close your eyes, because you're a little girl and you can't watch. Lin Xiaoxi reached up and covered her eyes. But her fingers were open. Her eyes looked outside through the gaps between her fingers. Su Mengyao's face was red. Lin Chen kissed her forehead. He. Lin Xiaoxi's little hand immediately let go. Lin Chen let go of her hand, and Su Mengyao said in a grumpy tone, Cici, you peeked, let Daddy spank your bottom. Daddy, love Daddy. Lin Xiaoxi hugged Lin Chen's thigh and acted spoiled. Lin Chen stroked Lin Xiaoxi's little head and said, Cici, you just peeked. Daddy is going to work, can you help your mother with something at home? That way, you won't need to get spanked on the bottom. Lin Xiaoxi nodded repeatedly, Daddy, I can. Lin Chen left soon after. At around 9:30, Lin Chen arrived at the store. Boss. A middle-aged man with a limp greeted Lin Chen. This person was recommended to him by Su Guofeng. He was a veteran soldier, an ace in the army, and became disabled in the process of carrying out his duties. The store needs to be guarded when it opens, and if someone delivers ingredients, they need to be brought in and put away. Uncle Wu, have you had breakfast? Lin Chen asked. This middle-aged man was called Wu Yongjun. Wu Yongjun nodded, Boss, I've already eaten. You can just call me by my name, there's no need to call me Uncle Wu. Lin Chen, Uncle Wu, without you guards, there would be no country today, so there's nothing wrong with me calling you that. Uncle Wu, has my father-in-law told you about the pay? Wu Yongjun shook his head. President Su didn't say anything. Lin Chen smiled, Uncle Wu, your job duties are as follows. On the day of business, you need to come early to open the door the day before business, you come to do some cleaning. The salary is 50,000 yuan a month, and you will have to take care of your own food and accommodation. You can rent a place nearby, and you will usually come to check on things, air the house, water the flowers, and so on. Wu Yongjun was stunned. Boss, 50,000 yuan a month? I look like this. Wu Yongjun couldn't believe it. He was looking for work, but because of his limp, many places simply wouldn't hire him, and even if they did, the salary would be very low. Uncle Wu, you heard me correctly. 50,000 a month, and there will be a bonus at the end of the year if you do a good job. Lin Chen smiled. He wouldn't pay this much for an ordinary security guard, even if he had the money. Wu Yongjun's situation was special. Lin Chen had heard from Su Guofeng that Wu Yongjun's squad had an accident and he gave all of his military retirement settlement to the wife and children of his fallen comrades. Boss, I'm not worth 50,000 a month. Wu Yongjun shook his head. Lin Chen, the people I entertain here are all top-level tycoons, and the requirements are quite strict. Ordinary security guards won't do. Your salary is just a drop in the bucket compared to what I earn. Thank you. Wu Yongjun said after a moment of silence. he still accepted the salary. He didn't have a wife or children, but he had parents at home, and he had to work hard to earn money so that his parents could be supported. Uncle Wu, in the future, as long as I come over, you just go out and stroll around the neighborhood to ensure safety, Lin Chengduo said. Wu Yongju nodded. He quickly left the courtyard. Lin Chengduo had added Wu Yongjun to WeChat, and he first transferred 50,000 yuan to Wu Yongjun, which was his first month's salary. Boss, thank you. Wu Yongjun quickly messaged back. There was only a pitiful 200 or 300 yuan left in his bank card, and that amount of money could not rent a house in the neighborhood. Gee, all the ingredients are top-notch. Lin Chengduo saw the ingredients that Yu Haiyan had sent. He could buy these ingredients with money, but it was troublesome, and he didn't want to go through all that trouble just for a bite to eat. He could also make delicious meals with ordinary ingredients. Asking guests to bring their own ingredients would save him this trouble. The guests would definitely bring more than enough ingredients, and would the top billionaires take the leftovers with them? Lin Chen quickly processed the ingredients. 5 minutes passed. System, can't I increase my cooking skills? System, host, you're not cooking this for Lin Xiaoxi. Lin Chen's eyes twinkled, who says it isn't? I'll definitely take some of the food I make back to Sisai to taste. Some of the ingredients I process will also be left over, so what if Sisai doesn't eat it? Besides, how do you know if Sisai comes over or not? System. A lot of experience flooded into Lin Chen's mind. Lin Chen's cooking skills are legendary, but they can still improve, and cooking may become his first mythical skill. That's more like it. Lin Chen's face revealed a faint smile. He hummed a tune as he quickly prepared the finest ingredients. Time passed quickly and it was 11:30. Yu Haiyan and Zhang Qingyuan arrived and parked outside. Wu Yongjun was nearby and, after checking the photos on his phone to make sure it was the guests for the day, he didn't show up. Yu Haiyan and the others went into the courtyard. It was quiet despite being in the middle of the city, and the environment was quite nice. Yu Haiyan smiled and said, Zhang Qingyuan nodded. They entered the house and soon smelled the fragrance. Master Lin, we're here. Zhang Qingyuan shouted. Lin Chen's voice came from the kitchen, Zhang Lao, there's tea and boiled water in the tea room, help yourselves. Zhang Qingyuan and Yu Haiyan arrived at the kitchen door. They kept inhaling, and the fragrance inside made their appetites grow. Guliolu. Yu Haiyan's stomach grumbled. Hearing Zhang Qingyuan's words, he hadn't eaten breakfast and was hungry already. Zhang Lao, Yuzon, dinner is at 12. Lin Chen looked back at Zhang Qingyuan and the others and said. Okay. Master Lin, you are busy. Zhang Qingyuan hurriedly said. He took Yu Haiyan to the tea room. Yu Haiyan said, Master Zhang, you are a master of calligraphy, even if Lin Chen is a master of cooking, you don't need to be so polite. Zhang Qingyuan, you mean you want to be humble, right? Cough. Yu Haiyan coughed lightly and didn't say anything. Zhang Qingyuan smiled faintly and said, You'll find out later, and perhaps you'll find out why later. 20-odd minutes passed. Lin Chen served a dish after another. There were 10 dishes in total, perfect in every way. The table could seat no more than 8 people, and the portions of each dish were not small, so 10 dishes were more than enough. Master Zhang, President Yu, please enjoy your meal. Lin Chen said with a smile. Zhang Qingyuan said, Master Lin, you join us. Lin Chen shook his head, you are guests now, let's eat together when you become friends. I wish you a pleasant meal. There are takeaway boxes in that cabinet, you can take away any food you can't finish. Lin Chen quickly left after saying that. Mr. Zhang, Lin Chen is quite arrogant. Yu Haiyan said. Zhang Qingyuan shook his head, it's not that he's arrogant, it's that we are quite inferior to him, it's not easy to gain his approval. Yu Haiyan looked at Zhang Qingyuan suspiciously. Is this too much praise for Lin Chen? Are they still quite a bit below Lin Chen's level? Let's eat, Mr. Yu. Zhang Qingyuan said. The two quickly began. The first bite went down the throat of Yu Haiyan, who froze. Is this the same kind of meat he usually eats? He wanted to swallow his tongue. Zhang Qingyuan was also a little stunned. This meal was even better than the last. On the one hand, Lin Chen's cooking skills have improved after such a long time, and on the other hand, the ingredients used today are even better. The two of them didn't say a word and silently tasted 2 more dishes. Mr. Zhang, Lin Chen is the god of cooking. I have eaten all over the world and have never eaten such delicious food. Yu Heian exclaimed in awe. Zhang Qingyuan, you said you would let me take away the food, so you won't go back on your word, right? Yu Heian. Mr. Zhang, let me discuss something with you. Can we each take away half of it later? Zhang Qingyuan asked, Mr. Yu, what level is Master Lin's cooking in the gourmet world? Yu Heian, many people would go crazy for him. In the gourmet world, he would be the uncrowned king. Chapter 162, Is Master Lin Lin Yu? Zhang Qingyuan sighed, unfortunately, there are only 3 to 5 opportunities a month, and it will definitely be difficult to make an appointment in the future. Yu Heian was stunned. To be honest, he wasn't worried at all before eating. $1 million per meal and you have to bring your own ingredients. 3 to 5 times a month, there's a high chance that you won't be able to sell it all. Now Yu Heian doesn't think like that at all. With assets of 10 to 20 billion yuan, $1 million yuan per meal, even if you eat every day, it will take decades to spend it all. And that's not even counting the income that this money can bring him. There are many people in the food industry with assets that exceed his. He is worth 10 to 20 billion yuan, while others have 10 to 20 billion US dollars, 10 to 20 billion euros, and are much richer than him. Mr. Yu, you are a top gourmet. Do you think many people will be fighting to make a reservation? Zhang Qingyuan asked. Yu Heian nodded, this is a certainty. For foodies around the world, in the future, if they have never eaten here, they will probably be embarrassed to call themselves foodies. Moreover, such cuisine is also loved by many non-foodies. There are so many wealthy people in the world. I have a friend who is even richer than me. His wife has cancer, an incurable type. He is now taking his wife everywhere to eat, drink and have fun. Zhang Qingyuan, are you going to ask your friend to make a reservation? Yu Heian nodded. Although I know people who are richer, my friend loves his wife very much. He wants to make her happy before she dies, and I have to help him. His character is still guaranteed. Zhang Qingyuan said, then you have to hurry up and make a reservation. Well, I'll contact my friend right after dinner. I'll pack a takeaway for him to take home, and he will definitely come after eating it. Yu Heian said. Zhang Qingyuan, there are still a few dishes left, so you can pack a takeaway for your friend and his wife. Zhang Lao, I can't let you do that. Zhang Qingyuan waved his hand and said, come on, we've known each other for so many years, why are you still saying that? Yu Heian got up and took the takeaway boxes and packed 2 boxes of food first. After finishing the meal, Zhang Qingyuan and Yu Heian were both full. Zhang Lao, Master Lin is amazing. Eating his food is even better than smoking. Master Lin's control over ingredients is unparalleled. Yu Haoyu couldn't stop praising Master Zhang. Master Lin's mastery of cooking is even greater than your mastery of calligraphy. Zhang Qingyuan muttered to himself, in terms of calligraphy, he is also far inferior to Lin Chen, there is simply no comparison. That's why I sincerely call him Master Lin. Zhang Qingyuan smiled slightly. Yu Heian covered his stomach and said, I'm convinced. I rarely admit defeat, but I'm truly convinced by Master Lin. Old Zhang, you made a reservation yourself, so don't fight me for the takeaway this time. No way. Zhang Qingyuan shook his head quickly. In the end, the two of them each took half of the takeaway. They didn't even let any of the soup go to waste, and took it all away with them. Brother Yi, where are you right now? Yu Heian dialed the number of his friend. Hongzhou, what's wrong? Yu Heian quickly said, Brother Yi, come to the magic city with your wife. I've got a superb dish that you and your wife can try. Superb dish? Yi Hong on the other end of the line said in surprise. Yu Heian said, yes, I've never tasted anything as delicious as this, it's way ahead of the rest. Yi Hong was tempted. He knew how picky Yu Heian's palate was. If Yu Heian said it was good, it was really delicious. When he says it's good, it's the ultimate gourmet food. Now he's actually said he's got a superb gourmet food. Yi Hong finds it a bit hard to imagine how delicious it is. We'll be right over. Yi Hong said directly. His wife doesn't have much time left. The success rate of chemotherapy is very low, and she doesn't want chemotherapy herself, spending the last moments of her life in the hospital. Okay, you can just come to my house. Yu Heian hung up the phone. He has a house in the Magic City. Okay. Yi Hong and his wife set off quickly. Hangzhou is not far from Shanghai, just over 2 hours away. Zhang Qingyuan, Mr. Yu, would you please call Master Lin? Of course. Yu Heian quickly dialed Lin Chen's phone number. Master Lin, your cooking is truly superb. I have eaten all over the world, but I have never eaten such delicious food. Thank you. Lin Chen laughed on the other end of the line. Mr. Yu, you are the guest, and you are still thanking me after spending 1 million to eat. Yu Heian, with your cooking, 1 million is a bargain. Master Lin, today is the 23rd, and I'm booking for the 23rd of next month. Is that okay? No problem. Just let me know how many people there will be. Yu Heian, okay. Master Lin, I like making friends, and I know people from all walks of life, both at home and abroad. Is there anything I can do to help you? There are only 3 or 5 places each month, and it's fine for now, but in the future, if he wants to make a reservation, he'll have to rely on connections. Lin Chen is not doing it for the money, so it must be for the connections. He needs to show his value. There is another advantage to befriending Lin Chen. With his cooking skills, Lin Chen will definitely have a wide network in the future. If he helps Lin Chen may be able to help him in the future. Lin Chen said, Wu Haoyu was sentenced to 3 years in prison for my wife, and I heard that there is a possibility of a reduction in sentence and an early release. If you have the time, please ask for me. Okay, Master Lin, I will help. Yu Heian promised. He knew the Wu family. Although the Wu family was rich, they were not as good as him. Of course, he supported Lin Chen between the Wu family and Lin Chen. Lin Chen said, someone should support the Wu family. Yu Heian laughed and said, I also know some friends, it should be no problem if I ask for you, Master Lin. After hanging up the phone, Lin Chen's face revealed a faint smile. Yu Heian told Zhang Qingyuan the situation. Zhang Qingyuan frowned, why didn't Master Lin tell me? Yu Heian laughed, you're always an intellectual, and Master Lin definitely didn't want something like this to bother you. You're not the kind of person to go to someone about this kind of thing, but I'm different. I'm a nobody, so I can do anything. Zhang Qingyuan frowned. Yu Heian continued, Old Zhang, you shouldn't get involved in this kind of thing. This kind of thing is a gray area, and you're only suited to supporting Master Lin in the sunshine. How do you know it's a gray area? Yu Heian laughed and said, if Wu Haoyu doesn't meet the conditions for sentence reduction at all, then Master Lin can just make a big deal out of it. It's not easy to manipulate the situation if he meets all the conditions either. He should be somewhere in the middle, and in this kind of situation, it's all about the relationship between the two sides. Zhang Qingyuan nodded slightly. Yu Heian said, don't worry about this, Mr. Zhang. It's not a big problem. Brother Yi and I know a lot of people. The Wu family is so ignorant that they dare to compete with Master Lin for relationships. Zhang Qingyuan said with deep meaning, Mr. Yu, you guys work harder. Master Lin is even more formidable than you think. If you become friends with Master Lin, the benefits will be numerous. Yu Heian's heart stirred. Master Zhang, is Master Lin Yu boss? Chapter 163, Inviting us to eat leftovers? Zhang Qingyuan said in surprise, how could you guess that? Yu Heian said with a smile, Old Master Zhang, you are too respectful of him. Even if his cooking is so amazing, I don't think you should be so respectful of him. You just said that he is even more amazing than I thought. If his cooking is already so amazing, and there is something even more amazing, then where else can I guess from? Old Master Zhang, you are also a master of calligraphy. Zhang Qingyuan shook his head, I'm getting old, my mind can't turn as fast as yours. I can't help admitting that I'm old. Yu Heian. He is in his 40s or 50s. But at Master Zhang's age, it's not wrong to call him a young man. You guessed it right. Master Lin is a top calligrapher and a top fairy tale master. His calligraphy is unsurpassed and there is probably no one to come after him. Zhang Qingyuan said with great admiration. Yu Heian, I've seen his signature online and it's really quite good. Zhang Qingyuan, the signature online is nothing, seeing his work in reality is truly shocking. A picture of ice and snow in the middle of summer can make you shiver. Many people in our industry agree that Master Lin's calligraphy surpasses that of all calligraphers in history. Yu Heian's eyes widened in shock. There are such comments online, but they are just general comments. Zhang Qingyuan and the others have never said anything like that to discredit Lin Chen. That's strong? Yu Heian said incredulously. Zhang Qingyuan, his calligraphy and cooking skills should be in the same league, and so are probably his fairy tales. How strong do you think his cooking skills are? Yu Qingyuan, I just said it, the uncrowned king. Zhang Qingyuan sighed, in the past, I was complacent, thinking that I was a genius. Now I realize that compared to the real genius, I'm nothing. Yu Heian smiled. Mr. Zhang, don't belittle yourself. You are definitely a genius. Master Lin is not a genius. I think it's more appropriate to describe him as a demon. He exceeds the scope of a genius. Even if he told me he could fly right now, I would believe him. Zhang Qingyuan laughed helplessly. Master Zhang, why doesn't Master Lin go public? If he revealed his identity, the Wu family wouldn't have any more problems, would they? Yu Heian asked doubtfully. Zhang Qingyuan, you think he's a calligrapher, a culinary god, or a children's author? His main occupation is now being a dad. Ha? Yu Heian was taken aback. Zhang Qingyuan laughed. He has a daughter who is just over 2 years old, very cute and adorable. He has asked us not to tell anyone, so that no one will influence him in taking care of his child. Lin Yu has a lot of fans. Yu Heian sighed. The boss is the boss. Ordinary people desperately want fame and fortune, but for the boss, these are within his grasp, so there's no need to rush. Zhang Qingyuan, if he desperately wanted fame and fortune, I don't think he would have reached this level. Yu Zong, you have to keep his situation confidential. Yu Heian nodded. Don't worry. Before they knew it, it was evening. Yu Heian went home, and his friend Yi Hong arrived with his wife. Brother Yi, sister-in-law. Yu Heian said warmly. Yi Hong was in his 50s, a little older than him, and his assets were also 100 billion more than his. Younger brother Yu. Yi Hong greeted. There was not much smile on his face. His wife had cancer, and she would die in 3 to 5 months or 1 to 2 years. He now had less and less reason to smile. Hello, old Yu. Yi Hong's wife said with a smile. She herself was more at ease about it. It is worth mentioning that she is 6 or 7 years younger than Yi Hong, and Yu Heian is older than her, so there is nothing wrong with her calling him Lao Yu. Come on in, sister-in-law. Yu Heian said. Once inside, Yi Hong said, Brother Yu, what about the peerless delicacy you were talking about? Is it really as exaggerated as you say? It's definitely there. I'll heat it up for you. Yu Heian said. He took the packed food out of the refrigerator. Yi Hong looked strangely at him and said, Brother Yu, you've packed 2 leftovers for us to eat? Yu Heian coughed lightly. I packed them, but they're not leftovers. I packed them before I even started eating. Yi Hong, why don't we just go and eat them? We can't eat them yet. Yu Heian put the food in the microwave. He had asked Lin Chen if it was okay to heat it up in the microwave, and Lin Chen had said that it would taste a little worse, but not by much. Yi Hong is puzzled. What do you mean you can't eat it yet? Yu Heian said, Master Lin requires reservations, 1 million per table, and you have to bring your own ingredients. He only takes 3 to 5 tables per month, and each person can only make a reservation once a month. Yi Hong can't believe it. Are there really so many rules? Yu Heian nodded. There are indeed a lot of rules, but Master Lin doesn't lack money, he mainly wants to make friends. Soon, a fragrance came from the microwave. Yi Hong sniffed. This smell is really strange. Come here, my dear. Yi Hong shouted, and his wife walked over. She was stunned by the smell and felt like eating something. She had an illness, although not anorexia, her appetite had always been poor, and she usually didn't like to eat. That was why Yi Hong had searched the whole world for delicious food. Soon the microwave was ready. Brother Yi, sister-in-law, try it. Yu Heian said. He had already served Yi Hong and the others their food. There were only 2 dishes, which were of a decent size and should be enough for them. You're not eating, little brother Yu? Yi Hong asked. Yu Heian said, I've also packed up some leftovers. Those are the real leftovers, the ones I and the others ate. I'll reheat them and eat them after you've finished. You should try them. Yi Hong nodded. In that case, we won't be rude. Soon, both husband and wife took a bite of the dish. The 2 of them were suddenly stunned. Husband, this is delicious. Yi Hong's wife said in surprise. Yi Hong nodded. The 2 of them continued to taste it, and Yi Hong said, Brother Yu, nothing was added to this dish, was it? The taste of the dish is incredible. Yu Heian shook his head. Brother Yi, don't worry, absolutely nothing was added. As Master Lin, it is absolutely impossible for him to do this. Yi Hong nodded. His wife was eating very happily, so he slowed down and eventually finished most of the 2 boxes of food. Honey, can we invite the chef to our home? Let's stop running around. Yi Hong's wife said contentedly. Yi Hong said helplessly, I'm afraid we can't. He only cooks for 3 to 5 tables each month. 1 million per table. Yu Heian said, sister-in-law, even if we offered Master Lin 100 million per month, we still couldn't hire him. Master Lin's family doesn't lack money at all. Brother Yi, do you want to make a reservation? Yi Hong nodded repeatedly. Of course. Yu Heian, if you make a reservation, I have to make it clear to you first, don't offend Master Lin. I'm your recommender, and I want to eat there a few more times. I know a prince in the Camel Kingdom who also really likes food, and I didn't recommend him this time. Yi Hong nodded, don't worry. Old Yu, thank you. Yi Hong's wife said gratefully. Yu Heian laughed and said, sister-in-law, you can just go with the two of you, and take home whatever is left over from the table. It'll be enough to eat for several meals if you put it in the refrigerator. Each person can only make a reservation once a month, and besides, if it's the two of you, it'll only count as one person. I'll contact Master Lin to make your reservation now. Yu Heian quickly dialed Lin Chen's phone number. Hello, Mr. Yu. The phone was answered by Su Mengyao. Lin Chen was teaching Lin Xiaoxi Tai Chi at the moment. Chapter 164, finally, internal strength. Yu Heian hurriedly said, hello, Su Zong. Su Zong, is Master Lin here? I need to talk to him about something. Su Mengyao glanced at Lin Chen and the others. Yu Zong, can I ask my husband to call you back later? My husband is busy at the moment. Okay. Yu Heian hung up the phone and Yi Hong said, You, the person who answered the phone is Master Lin's wife? You were very polite to her too. Could it be that she is also very impressive? Yu Heian said, she is the wife of the CEO of Su Group. The Su family has assets of more than 30 billion yuan, which is more than you and I. Yi Hong's wife said in surprise, she is Master Lin's wife? Yu Heian nodded. Yi Hong's wife said embarrassedly, you should have told me earlier that Master Lin's wife is the CEO Su. Yu Heian, sister-in-law, I didn't count that. Even if Master Lin's wife wasn't Su Mengyao, I don't think you could hire Master Lin for 100 million a month. Yi Hong and the others were amazed. Yi Hong said, it seems that Master Lin really isn't in it for the money. The Su family doesn't have enough connections, he's in it for the connections. You're right, Brother Yi. His network of connections will definitely be terrifying in the future. Yu Heian said. Yi Hong nodded slightly. Yi Hong's wife said, there are many wealthy people in the world who like food, as well as many people like me, and there are also some people who have anorexia and don't eat much. You're right, sister-in-law. These people add up to a lot, and Master Lin's cooking definitely has the powerful charm to conquer their stomachs. Yu Heian said. Yi Hong's wife patted her stomach, I don't know about other people, but I know my stomach has been conquered. Yi Hong looked at Yu Heian. You, my dear, why don't you go reheat some food? My wife is full, but I'm only half full. I'll eat with you. You? Brother Yi, that's not a good idea. Those are leftovers from when I was eating with other people, I can't let you eat them. How about this, let's go out to a restaurant, it's been a long time since we last saw each other, let's have a few drinks. Yu said. Yi, it's fine, I'm not that fussy. Back when I wasn't rich, I used to hang out on construction sites. Yi Hong's wife said with a smile, you both have billions of wealth, and one wants to eat leftovers and the other doesn't want to take them out, if I tell someone else this, they won't believe it. Cough, sister-in-law, it's not that I don't want to take them out. I'm afraid that your brother will get a bad stomach if he eats them then. Yu Heian coughed lightly. Yi Hong, I'm not afraid, I have an iron stomach. Go reheat the leftovers again, and get a bottle of wine, let's drink a little. Yu Heian nodded. Yi Hong rarely drank, but today he was in the mood. Lin Chen, this side. Host, you taught Lin Xiaoqian to reach 10 hours, and you have begun to gain internal strength. The internal strength will flow through your meridians and eventually converge in your dantian. The system's voice sounded in Lin Chen's mind. Lin Chen's heart leapt with joy. Finally, it's here. Although at first his internal strength will be very little and the effect will not be great, it can still become very powerful in the future. Shishi, raise your left hand a little higher. It wasn't over yet, Lin Chen continued to teach Lin Xiaoxi. System, can internal strength improve my physique? Lin Chen asked in his mind. System, host, internal strength can slowly nourish and improve your physique, but this improvement is basically negligible compared to the improvement of your usual physique. The improvement of physique is a comprehensive and long-term balanced improvement in all aspects of your body, while internal strength is a kind of explosive energy. A few minutes passed and Lin Chen finished teaching Lin Xiaoxi. Husband, President Yu called. Su Mengyao said. Lin Chen nodded, I'll get back to him later. She just finished practicing, and she needs to relax a bit. Husband, I can massage Shi. Lin Chen laughed, this is no ordinary massage. You can't press her meridians and acupoints accurately. You'll have to practice for 3 to 5 years before you can learn it. After massaging Lin Xiaoxi, Lin Chen went to the study. He dialed Yu Haiyan's mobile phone. President Yu. Lin Chen said. Yu Haiyan hurriedly said, Master Lin, a friend of mine wants to make a reservation. He has 2 to 300 billion in assets and is a very nice person. Is it okay if he wants to book a table? Yes, the day after tomorrow should be fine. Lin Chen said after thinking about it. He had to spend most of his time accompanying Lin Xiaoqian. Okay, Master Lin. Master Lin, I will talk to my friend about that matter of yours. We will try to find some people to talk to. Yu Haiyan said. Well, is there anything else? Yu Haiyan, Master Lin, my friend has already come to the demon capital, let us invite you for tea. Lin Chen thought about it. Having a cup of tea would not take up much time. He was also doing this to expand his network of contacts. Sure, when? Lin Chen asked. Yu Haiyan, Master Lin, if it is convenient, tonight? They are here with me, my friend and his wife. Okay. Lin Chen agreed. Su Mengyao had to go to the company tomorrow, so tomorrow was not convenient. After hanging up the phone, Lin Chen told Su Mengyao. Honey, can I go too? Su Mengyao asked. Lin Chen shook his head, let's talk about it later. I don't know them well yet, and they are not friends yet. They are just 2 of my clients. Su Mengyao can't go now. He still has to talk to Yu Haiyan and the others about the Wu family. Okay. Then come back early. Su Mengyao said. Lin Xiaoqian hugged Lin Chen's thighs, Daddy, don't go, I'll miss you. I miss you so much. Su Mengyao, Xiaoqian, Daddy has to work. Lin Chen picked Lin Xiaoqian up. He kissed Lin Xiaoqian and said, Xiaoqian, are you afraid that Daddy will be as busy with work as Mommy used to be? Lin Xiaoqian nodded. Lin Chen said gently, you don't need to be afraid, I will definitely spend much more time with you than working. Come, let's pinky swear, a liar is a puppy. Lin Xiaoqian held out her finger and pinky swore with Lin Chen. Pinky swear, hang yourself, don't change for 100 years. After pinky swearing, Lin Xiaoqian's face showed a sweet smile. Go, Dad. If there are any bad guys, I will protect Mum. Lin Xiaoqian kissed Lin Chen's face and said in a baby voice. Lin Chen rubbed Lin Xiaoxi's little head, Cici, you can protect your mother and grandparents, but if a stranger asks you for help, you can't help them. Why not? Lin Xiaoxi asked, puzzled. Lin Chen said, why would a stranger ask a child for help instead of an adult? Think about it. Lin Xiaoxi pondered. Suddenly her eyes lit up, he's a bad guy. Lin Chen gave a thumbs up, very good. Sisai, when we encounter problems, we should think about them ourselves. You can think of it, right? Lin Xiaoqian nodded repeatedly. After reassuring Lin Xiaoqian, Lin Chen set off. Half an hour later, Lin Chen met Yu Haiyan and the others. Ha! Lin Chen's gaze fell on Yi Han's wife. He could tell at a glance that Yi Han's wife was seriously ill. Brothers, if you like it, please give it a 5-star rating, thank you. Chapter 165, I know a billion points of medical skills. Mr. Yi, your wife is unwell, isn't she? Lin Chen asked. Yi Han looked at Yu Haiyan. His wife had cancer, but he didn't make a big deal about it, and very few people knew. Yu Haiyan shook his head. Brother Yi, I didn't say anything about my sister-in-law's condition. Lin Chen, Mr. Yi, I know a little about medicine, and your wife's condition is pretty obvious to someone who knows medicine. Let me take your wife's pulse. I need to know her physical condition. There are some dishes she can't eat, otherwise it will worsen her condition. Yi Han's wife is seriously ill. If she dies or her condition worsens while eating at his place, it will have a great impact on his reputation. Master Lin, you actually know medical skills. Yi Han said in surprise. Lin Chen smiled, I know a little bit. Master Lin, that's a problem. Yi Hong's wife held out her hand. Lin Chen placed his finger on her pulse point. He was a master of both Western medicine and ancient medical techniques, and had an extremely strong ability to take pulses. He quickly figured out the situation by taking her pulse. Yi Zong, your wife's situation requires active treatment. Lin Chen reminded him. Yi Hong's wife said with a carefree attitude, I don't want chemotherapy, and I don't want to spend my last moments in a hospital bed. Yi Hong bitterly said, the doctor said that the success rate of chemotherapy for my wife is relatively low, and it is even likely that she will go even earlier. And the treatment process will also be very painful. Lin Chen considered. With his current medical skills, he is 30% sure that he can completely cure Yi Hong's wife and is highly confident that he can extend her life. But there is still a high chance that she will die. He doesn't have a medical license, and if he illegally practices medicine and Yi Hong's wife dies, he may get into trouble. But ignoring it completely seems too cold-hearted. If I can help Yi Hong's wife, it would be a great favor. Yi Zong, I read about a folk remedy in a precious ancient book that has therapeutic effects on your wife's illness. If you want to try it, I'll write it down for you. But this is an ancient remedy, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm not responsible for any consequences after you use it. Lin Chen said after some consideration. Yi Hong's eyes lit up. If an ordinary person had said this, he would definitely not have believed it. But Lin Chen is no ordinary person. If Lin Chen didn't have a high degree of certainty, he definitely wouldn't have said such nonsense and gotten himself into trouble. Master Lin, how good of an effect can it have? Yi Hong hurriedly asked. Lin Chen, what did the doctors you saw say? Yi Hong bitterly said, short term is 3 to 5 months, with good luck it could be 1 or 2 years, and most expect it to be around a year. Honey, it's fine. Life and death are in the hands of fate, and I've enjoyed what I should have. Yi Hong's wife smiled. Lin Chen said, take that medicine, 3 doses a day. I don't think your wife will have a problem for more than 2 years. That medicine is a bit expensive, 1,000 or 200 cents for each dose, but it shouldn't be a problem for you. He was being conservative. If you insist on taking it, you should have no problem living for 3 years. Master Lin, are you sure? Yi Hong asked excitedly. More than 2 years is more than double the length of 1 year. Lin Chen shook his head, Mr. Yi, I'm not sure. I only know that the person who wrote that ancient book was quite skilled, so it's very likely. Whether you try it or not is your business. You will also have to bear the consequences yourself. Yi Hong got up, bent over and bowed, Master Lin, thank you. Master Lin, thank you. Yi Hong's wife also got up and bowed. She is more carefree nowadays and is not very afraid, but if she can live an extra year or 2, of course she would be very happy. Lin Chen sat there and accepted their bow. He can handle it. Yi Zong, let's add each other on WeChat. I'll send you the prescription, and you can find a trusted pharmacy to fill it. Don't pass on the prescription, as it may not be suitable for others. Lin Chen reminded him. The prescription he wrote is for Yi Hong's wife, and it may not have the same effect on others even if they have the same cancer. Yi Hong nodded. Lin Chen quickly added him on WeChat. Half an hour later, Lin Chen left. He didn't mention anything about the Wu family, and Yu Heian and Yi Hong should take action. Brother Yi, congratulations to you and your wife. Yu Heian said, they haven't left yet. Lin Chen needs to go back and take care of the baby, and they don't have anything else to do. Yi Hong, brother Yu, since Master Lin said so, I think there is a 70-80% chance. What do you think? Yu Heian shook his head, I think it's 99%. Yi Hong looked at Yu Heian in surprise. In his heart, Yu Heian muttered, Lin Chen is extremely talented in cooking, calligraphy, and creating fairy tales. Lin Chen is destined to go down in history, and he wouldn't say anything unless he was 100% sure. Brother Yi, I meant to say 100%, but I didn't want to sound too sure, so I just said 99%. You must take this matter seriously. Yu Heian said with a serious expression. Yi Hong was very surprised, you actually have so much faith in Master Lin. Yu Heian, brother Yi, in traditional Chinese medicine, food is used to supplement the body, and food supplements are also part of the culinary arts. Master Lin's understanding and control of food is beyond the imagination of ordinary people. He can easily understand your wife's condition by feeling her pulse, so I don't think his medical skills can be bad. Yi Hong nodded. Wife, you have to take the medicine properly when the time comes. Yu Heian said, Brother Yi, let's discuss the matter of Wu Haoyu together. We have to take action. Yi Hong nodded. Originally, he had wanted to wait until the day after tomorrow after dinner to take action, but now that Lin Chen had given them the precious prescription, he naturally had to take action early to show his sincerity. Soon they began discussing things. They were all very wealthy, and to be able to maintain that wealth, they all had very strong connections. Uncle Zhang, there's something I want to ask you about. Mr. He, how have you been? I'm in the Magic City now, let's get together, shall we have dinner tomorrow? Song Ju. Each made a phone call. They contacted people they were on good terms with, people who would help them find out what was going on. They would express concern about Wu Haoyu's situation. There was no need to say anything explicitly, those who understood would naturally understand. The relevant parties would naturally be more cautious. The Wu family had influential people behind them, and after Lin Chen and the others had gathered enough attention, the forces behind the Wu family would naturally choose to abandon them after weighing the pros and cons. The world is not about fighting and killing, but about knowing the ways of the world. Dad. Lin Chen arrived home and Lin Xiaoqian ran over happily. Xiaoqian, have you been a good girl at home? Lin Chen asked with a smile as he picked Lin Xiaoqian up in his arms. Lin Xiaoqian said sweetly, I went out and played with mommy. Dad, I've already finished taking a bath, so tell me a story, I want to hear a new story. Lin Chen scratched her little nose, you're quite demanding, where would there be so many new stories? Then I'll kiss you. Lin Xiaoqian hugged Lin Chen's head and kissed him a few times. Dad, do you have one now? No. I'll let mommy kiss you too. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao. That must not be the case. Chapter 166, The Skill That Comes in the Middle of the Night. Cici, Daddy knows a lot of stories. You let Daddy tell you a story quickly, and Mommy is going to take a bath. Su Mengyao quickly ran away after she finished speaking. Lin Xiaoxi said coquettishly, Daddy, tell me a new story, you're the best. Okay, Daddy will tell you. Lin Chen said adoringly. His daughter had asked, so he had to oblige. As he was telling the story, Su Mengyao came out of the shower. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao, his eyes a little fiery. Su Mengyao's heart fluttered. Her face also turned red. Lin Chen's gaze seemed to want to devour her. Cici, let mommy tell you a story instead. Honey, you haven't showered yet, go take a shower. Su Mengyao said. Lin Xiaoxi, no. Mommy, you come up here too, I'll sit in the middle, how about you both tell me a story together? Su Mengyao hesitated slightly before getting into bed. The three of them sat at the head of the bed. It was just that Lin Xiaoxi was between Lin Chen and Su Mengyao. Lin Chen continued to tell the story. Gradually, Lin Xiaoqian fell asleep sweetly. Honey, you go take a shower first. Then will you watch some TV with me? Su Mengyao said to Lin Chen with a longing look. Okay. Lin Chen finished showering in less than 10 minutes. Su Mengyao had already turned on the TV, and Lin Chen sat down next to her, Su Mengyao's head leaning on Lin Chen's shoulder. Smelling the faint fragrance emanating from Su Mengyao's body, Lin Chen's restless heart gradually calmed down. Honey, she has a good talent for drawing and it seems she has a good talent for math too. She surprised me a bit, she can quickly add and subtract within 10. Su Mengyao said in some amazement. Lin Chen laughed and said, You're surprised? She's just beginning to learn math, her talent hasn't been tapped yet. Her talent for math shouldn't be lower than her talent for drawing. Lin Xiaoxi has a basic talent, and her strongest subjects are drawing and math, and compared to drawing, she's even stronger at math. No way? Cici should be stronger at drawing. Su Mengyao said in surprise. Lin Chen said while watching TV, she is more talented at drawing now, but that's because her talent in mathematics has not been fully tapped. His mathematical skills are not yet at the master level, and Lin Xiaoxi's displayed mathematical talent is not bad. Lin Chen estimated that her raw talent must exceed 40 points. Lin Xiaoxi's raw talent for drawing is in the low 30s. It took her twice as long to reach 90-something. When his mathematical skills reach the level of Grandmaster, Lin Xiaoxi's mathematical talent will surge to 80-90 points. When his mathematical skills reach the level of Legend, Lin Xiaoxi's mathematical talent will exceed the limit of 100 points. System, what happens if Cici's talent exceeds 100 points? Lin Chen asked in his mind. System, talent is off the charts, and results are doubled. How it works depends on whether you work hard or not. Su Mengyao, honey, how's your math? I know a little. Lin Chen smiled and said. Su Mengyao said coquettishly, hubby, you're bragging. You definitely know more than a little. I really know a little. I haven't studied this area in depth, so I guess I'm just at the level of an ordinary mathematics professor. Lin Chen said. Su Mengyao. You're just average. Lin Chen, no, there are many ordinary math professors in the country, and this level is just so-so. She is gifted in math, and I will strengthen it in the future. As long as he teaches Lin Xiaoxi, it will definitely soar. First, let's give Su Mengyao a heads up. Honey, I really don't know how your brain is growing. Su Mengyao said in disbelief. Lin Chen said with emotion, this is what I'm worried about. If some things get out, I think there will definitely be many forces in the world that want to capture me alive for research. Never underestimate the moral standards of some people. Su Mengyao's heart tightened. Honey, don't go public in the future? Lin Chen shook his head, wouldn't that be a waste of my talent? Don't worry, I already have some self-protection, and besides, our country is not comparable to what it used to be. I will know what to do. Su Mengyao whispered, husband, you absolutely cannot have an accident. Otherwise, what will Cici and I do in the future? Husband, you hug me. Lin Chen reached out and hugged Su Mengyao's waist. Su Mengyao's body trembled slightly. Time gradually passed, and after 10 minutes, Su Mengyao felt a little uncomfortable, but she endured it and didn't say anything. Lin Chen sensed the difference in Su Mengyao's body. He mentally controlled the flow of internal energy to his ears. Soon Lin Chen's hearing improved greatly. He heard Su Mengyao's heartbeat, and the speed of her heartbeat had now exceeded 100 beats per minute. Mengyao, I can't watch TV with you anymore. It hasn't been updated today. Lin Chen withdrew his hand and spoke. Hubby, you go ahead and I'm going to sleep too. Su Mengyao said with a red face. Lin Chen quickly went to the study. Who? Su Mengyao took deep breaths continuously. Su Mengyao, you are really useless. He is not someone else, he is your husband, what's wrong with hugging you? Su Mengyao muttered to herself. Lin Chen could embrace her like this, but if it went on for a long time, her resistance at the mental level would accumulate. She couldn't control this herself. But compared to before, the situation had improved a lot. Crackling. Lin Chen quickly wrote an update to the fairy tale. Lin, I have a few more academic questions I would like to ask you. Opening his mailbox, Lin Chen saw an email from Professor Lu. Lin Chen opened the attachment. There were quite a few questions. He read them all and found that he could answer them. Busy until late at night, Lin Chen answered all of Professor Lu's questions. Go. He sent the email. At the Research Institute, Professor Lu was about to go to bed after finishing his work. Ding. Just as he was about to turn off his computer, Lin Chen's email arrived. Professor Lu's eyes lit up. He hurriedly opened the attachment. Seeing the dense content in the attachment, Professor Lu was shocked. Did the other person answer his question? He scrolled down. Lin Chen had given him an answer to every question. But whether it was correct or not, he didn't know for the time being. Looks like I won't be able to sleep tonight. Professor Lu muttered. He began to read Lin Chen's answers one by one. Unconsciously, it was already 4 or 5 in the morning. Surprisingly, they were all correct. Lin's ability is much stronger than mine. Who is he? Professor Lu was a little confused about Lin Chen's identity, but one thing he was sure of was that Lin Chen was definitely Chinese. The things he asked would be beneficial to the development of the country. People from other countries would not be so kind as to help him solve his problems. Professor Lu's questions were still academic in nature, did not involve specific research projects, and did not involve secrets. He was very clear about the confidentiality regulations. Knock, knock. Su Mengyao knocked lightly on the door. Then she pushed open the study door, holding Lin Xiaoqian in her arms. Honey, please hold Sisai for a while. The bed is wet, I need to change the sheets. Su Mengyao said helplessly. Okay. Lin Chen took Lin Xiaoqian from Su Mengyao. Daddy, what are you doing? Lin Xiaoqian asked confusedly. Lin Chen, Daddy is working on the computer. Daddy, how does this work? Teach me. Lin Xiaoqian said soberly. Okay, Dad will teach you. Lin Chen said, and he taught Lin Xiaoqian to press the keyboard. 5 minutes passed. Host, you taught Lin Xiaoqian to use the computer and gained hacking skills. 10 hours to master level, 20 hours to grandmaster level. The voice of the system sounded in Lin Chen's mind. Lin Chen's eyes lit up. Lin Xiaoqian's P was a beautiful one. Chapter 167, Someone is following Lin Chen. Hacking skills Lin Chen has long wanted to have. But Lin Xiaoxi is only a little over 2 years old, and if he takes the initiative to teach her to play the computer, it will be deliberate, and the system will not awaken the skills at all. After all, his is a daddy system, not an omnipotent system or anything. After 10 minutes, Su Mengyao arrived. She saw Lin Chen teaching Lin Xiaoxi to play a small game. Press the letters on the keyboard to play a little monster. Honey, how do you teach Sisai to play games? Su Mengyao said coquettishly. Lin Chen turned his head and looked at Su Mengyao and smiled. Wife, games are not poison. Not being able to control yourself and not knowing what you want is fatal. Sisai won't be like that. Su Mengyao, but won't this hurt your eyes? It's okay to play occasionally. The martial arts I teach her will also improve eyesight. Lin Chen said with a smile. Lin Xiaoxi's martial arts talent will improve in the future. She is still very young, so she will definitely have no problem cultivating internal strength in the future. Internal strength has the effect of strengthening the body. Although it is far from as fast as in directly adding physical strength, it will definitely ensure that Lin Xiaoxi's eyesight will be fine in the future. Okay, as long as you know. Cici, let's go to bed, it's the middle of the night. Husband, you should get some sleep too. Su Mengyao said. Lin Xiaoxi said with interest, Dad, I want to play this again tomorrow, I want to destroy all these monsters. Lin Chen pinched her little face and laughed, okay, but we can only play for a little bit every day. He can't mess around just to improve his hacking skills. Lin Xiaoxi nodded repeatedly. Su Mengyao quickly carried Lin Xiaoxi to bed, and Lin Chen lay on the bed and began his internal strength control training. While improving his Tai Chi secret skills, Lin Chen gained relevant experience, but it is still safer to practice more often on your own. If you are not proficient, what if you make a mistake in a hurry? If you make a mistake in drawing or writing, you can just start over again, but if you make a mistake with your internal strength, you might end up disabled. In the blink of an eye, it was the next day. The people Yu Heian and Yi Hong contacted began to take action. These people were not weak in terms of identity, status, or influence. They are all people with experience and will not intervene explicitly, but they will let some people know what they mean through their words and actions. Wu family. Brother, quite a few people are moving, but something is not right. They should not be under the command of Su Zhongting. Wu Yongfeng, younger brother of Wu Yongcheng, said. Wu Yongcheng frowned secretly. Does the Su family have other tricks up their sleeves? If Su Zhongting intervenes in the judicial process, he will be happy to do so, and Su Zhongting will naturally be dealt with by the rest of the people for doing so. If Su Zhongting doesn't intervene, the forces behind him won't act either. Originally, they estimated that if things went quickly, Wu Haoyu could be released in a week, and if things went slowly, in 10 days or half a month. Now, it's already been a month and they're still not out. Wu Haoyu's quick release is a slap in the face to those people. They might not say anything for now, and they'll still greet you with a smile when you meet, but they'll probably try to cause trouble in the future. Pay attention to our Wu family business. Don't let some people ruin our Wu family business. Wu Yongcheng said in a deep voice. Wu Yongfeng, I think it might be Lin Chen. Su Zhongting and the others were very polite to Lin Chen, which is not simple. Lin Chen has something behind him that we don't know about. Wu Yongcheng nodded slightly. You investigate secretly. Okay. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. During these 2 days, Su Mengyao went to work, and Lin Chen stayed at home to take care of the baby. Every day, Lin Xiaoxi had to learn a lot of things, but she enjoyed herself. Lin Chen used education to entertain, and in Lin Xiaoxi's eyes, it was as if her father was playing with her all day long. Big brother, what are we looking for? A young man with a thin figure asked in a low voice. He was a thief with a very high level of lock-picking. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. The other man said sternly. They soon entered the building where Lin Chen and the others lived. Lin Chen had gone to the store. Su Mengyao didn't work today and was playing outside with Lin Xiaoxi. This is the right building. How long will it take you to open the door? The skinny young man checked it out and said, "The quality of the door locks in this community is not bad, but it won't be a problem for me. Give me half a minute, and I'm sure I can open this door." His level was indeed high. The lock with good anti-theft performance was opened in just a few seconds. Just as they were about to open the door and go in, two young men with shaved heads appeared, and one of them flashed his ID. "National Security. Please come with us," one of them said with a blank expression. The other said, "We advise you not to resist. We have orders to shoot if you resist." The two men who were about to enter the house were shocked. They obediently surrendered. If they had run into the police, they would have dared to argue back, but it was better to obediently do what the national security said. Soon the two men were taken to the underground parking lot. Click. They were handcuffed as they were led to the car. Wolf's Tooth Team 1 calling. "We have captured two thieves who were trying to enter Mr. Lin's house." One of them picked up the walkie-talkie and said, "Wolf's Lair received. Wolf's Tooth Team 1, you will be evacuated in 5 minutes. Wolf's Tooth Team 2 will pick you up and carry out the protection mission." A voice came over the walkie-talkie. Wolf's Tooth Team 1 received. The two people who were caught were shocked. What was going on? Wolf Tooth Team 1 has 2 operatives and a driver. Wolf Tooth Team 1 has at least 3 people. And Wolf Tooth Team 2. Just who is Lin Chen? 5 minutes later, another car pulled up. Team 2 is in position. A voice came over the walkie-talkie. "Roger." Wolf Tooth Team 1 quickly withdrew. The skinny young man weakly said, "Let me ask, I just helped open the door, is that a big crime? Can I ask the police to come and take me away?" No comment. The captain of the Wolf Tooth Team said coldly, "I want to call the police." The other man said, "First go back with us, we will check it out, and once we are sure that you are not in any trouble, we will naturally let you go. Ordinary people don't know that Lin Chen is Lin Yu, but can the relevant state departments not know? Someone has been secretly protecting him for a long time. But at the beginning, there were not so many people secretly protecting him. But 2 days ago, someone at the top already knew that Lin Chen also had very strong capabilities in the field of scientific research. The protection for Lin Chen has been rapidly upgraded. Who is following me?" Lin Chen frowned secretly on the private kitchen side. On the way here, he noticed that there was a car following him. The distance between the two was far enough that it would normally go unnoticed, but Lin Chen had keen senses and now had internal strength. "Uncle Wu, there is a silver van about 150 meters away to the left of the store. It followed me all the way here. Go over and see what's going on. Be careful." Lin Chen called Wu Yongjun. He is now on the 2nd floor and can see the car from the window. "Okay, boss." Wu Yongjun sauntered over. It wasn't long before he arrived next to the van and knocked on the window. The window next to the driver's seat lowered. Wu Yongjun looked inside and saw that there were 3 people in the car. 1 in front and 2 behind. "State security?" Wu Yongjun said in surprise. He was once the ace of the army and had dealt with state security many times, so he knew a lot about it. "Old classmate, we're on a mission." The leader of the team handed him a cigarette. Chapter 168, kissed Sumangyao cheek. "You investigated me?" Wu Yongjun took the cigarette handed to him. The leader lit his cigarette for him. "Old classmate, our mission is to secretly protect Mr. Lin. Our people did check your information." "Protect my boss?" Wu Yongjun was a little surprised. What is the background of his boss that he deserves such protection? Even if it's a billionaire worth hundreds of billions of dollars, if he wants someone to protect him at his own expense, the state will not provide protection. Right. "Old classmate, you can tell Mr. Lin that he just needs to ignore our existence, and we won't affect him," the captain said politely. Wu Yongjun nodded slightly and limped back to the courtyard. "Boss, they are comrades from the National Security Bureau. Their task is to protect your safety," Wu Yongjun said to Lin Chen. Lin Chen thought about the question he answered for Professor Lu the other day, and something involving this was not simple. Although it is not confidential, it can prove his ability. "Boss, they told you to ignore their existence, and their covert actions will not affect your life." Lin Chen nodded. His calligraphy has no predecessors, and it is normal for people to pay attention to it. Perhaps someone has been secretly protecting him for a long time, but he was unable to discover it before. Now his physique is stronger and his internal strength is stronger. I'll go out and talk to them. Lin Chen went outside and approached the car. Mr. Lin. The captain lowered the window on his own initiative. Lin Chen nodded, hello. I have a question and a small request to mention. Mr. Lin, you say. Lin Chen said, how many people are secretly protecting you? Is it just for me, or is my wife and daughter also included? You cannot wiretap me or my family. Team leader, Mr. Lin, our task is only to protect you, and the rest of the people are not within our protection. You have to pay more attention to their safety yourself. We currently have a total of 12 people in 4 teams. 2 teams work shifts, 1 team follows you outside, and 1 team stays in the community to prevent someone from sneaking into your house. Lin Chen's computer may have important documents. In addition, we also have to prevent someone from entering Lin Chen's home to deal with him. We will not eavesdrop on you, so don't worry. We never do this to the targets we protect. The team leader said seriously. Lin Chen nodded, that's good. Back in the courtyard, Lin Chen continued to work. He didn't really care about the national security matter. It was normal for the relevant state departments to respond. Not to mention, simply his calligraphy was so strong, if he was killed easily, what would future history books say? 2 hours passed. A Maybach drove over, driven by Yi Hong himself. After parking the car, he and his wife got out. Wu Yongjun was nearby. He looked at them and, after confirming that they were today's guests, Wu Yongjun paid no further attention. Master Lin, we're here. The two entered the courtyard and Yi Hong shouted. Lin Chen's voice came from the kitchen, Mr. Yi, you can have some tea first, the meal will be ready in 20 to 30 minutes. Okay. Yi Hong said as he walked towards the kitchen. When they reached the kitchen door, they smelled the tempting fragrance. Master Lin, you can have dinner with us later. Yi Hong said. Lin Chen turned his head and looked at Yi Hong. Yi Zone, you eat? You had enough ingredients delivered, so I made a bit extra. I'll eat it with my wife and daughter when I get home. Master Lin, I feel a bit more energetic these past 2 days. Yi Hong's wife spoke up. Lin Chen laughed, that's good. Keep taking the medicine. You might not be able to detect any effect in the short term, but it will have an effect in the long term. You guys go have some tea. Yi Hong and the others left from the kitchen door. Lin Chen was busy, and they might disturb him if they chatted with him. Half an hour passed, and all the dishes were on the table. There were still 10 dishes. No matter how many ingredients the guests brought, there would be 10 dishes, and the guests could decide on the types of dishes. Yi Zone, you eat slowly. I'll leave first. Lin Chen quickly left with a large lunchbox. Wife, try it. Yi Hong picked up a piece of meat and offered it to his wife. MMM. Yi Hong's wife put the meat in her mouth. MMM? Soon, a look of surprise appeared in her eyes. Husband, it tastes even better when eaten here and now than when taken home. It can get even better? Yi Hong quickly tried it too. Amazing, Master Lin's cooking skills are truly at the pinnacle. Yi Hong was amazed. He had already felt that the leftovers were incredibly delicious. Now, they were even better. Wife, you eat more. These dishes should all be suitable for you. Yi Hong's wife also helped herself to some food. Hubby, you mustn't save any for me, otherwise I won't be able to enjoy it. I'll eat it, I'll eat it. Yi Hong quickly said. He ate with his wife, but tried to eat as little as possible. Lin Chen could only make a reservation once a month. Hubby, who will you recommend? You have to recommend someone reliable, and someone who can handle a lot of food. Yi Hong's wife asked. Yi Hong thought for a moment, 1 million per table, officials won't do. But a rich man with strong connections in the officialdom can come. I recommend Shen Jian, the general manager, to come. His assets are only a few billion, but he has strong connections in the imperial capital, and he is a big filial son. We even went to his father's 70th birthday. Yi Hong's wife nodded. He is not bad. You asked him for help this time, right? Yi Hong nodded, well, he quite readily helped. Later, you send me the photos you took, and I'll send them to him. His wife just took the photos. But she's not going to post it on her moments. If more people know, the competition will become even fiercer. If they can make an appointment next month, what about next month? Lin Chan returned home. It only took him 10 minutes to get home as it was close by. Su Mengyao had just finished playing outside with Lin Xiaoxi and was just in time for dinner. Dad, this is delicious. These dishes are even more delicious than before. Lin Xiaoxi was very happy eating. Lin Chen usually used quite ordinary ingredients, the ones Yi Hong and the others brought over, those were the best ingredients. Lin Chen could make ordinary ingredients taste delicious, but if he used the best ingredients, the natural taste would be even better. Cici, is it okay if Daddy works occasionally? Lin Chen asked with a smile. Lin Xiaoxi nodded repeatedly, Cici, you little foodie, didn't you still hate it when Daddy worked? Su Mengyao said. Lin Xiaoxi giggled and said, Daddy's only been gone for a short time, and he's brought back delicious food. Mommy, you used to go out early, and you never came back when I was sleeping. I missed you so much. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Xiaoxi and felt very distressed. At that time, her grandparents were abroad, and she had no grandparents or father. Her mother had to work. Mommy, what's wrong? Mommy, don't cry. Lin Xiaoxi saw tears glistening in Su Mengyao's eyes. Mom is fine. Mom just feels that I have wronged you in the past. Su Mengyao wiped away her tears and said. Lin Xiaoqian hurriedly said, Mom, no. Dad, hug Mom quickly, and kiss Mom. Lin Chen got up. Su Mengyao was sitting, and he hugged Su Mengyao from behind. Boo! Lin Chen kissed Su Mengyao on the cheek. Su Mengyao's pretty face turned red extremely quickly. Chapter 169, The shop you bought is decorated. Honey, it's all in the past. Sisai is very happy now, if you're still sad, I'll kiss you again. Lin Chen said with a smile. I'm not sad, you sit down and eat. Su Mengyao said coquettishly, the decoration of your shop is over. Do you want to go take a look after dinner? Okay. After dinner, Lin Chen and the others went to the shop outside the community. Lin Chen's eyes lit up. The shop had been decorated and cleaned, and the overall impression was extremely good. His workroom, Lin Xiaoxi's piano room and dance studio all looked very good. Lin Chen's workroom had a large desk. Lin Xiaoxi's piano room had a grand piano, and in addition, there were also musical instruments such as the guzheng and erhu. Mengyao, why do you have an erhu? Lin Chen asked in surprise. Su Mengyao laughed and said, my dad likes the erhu. When he comes over, he can play it and have some fun. If you want to play the erhu, you can too. Lin Chen muttered to himself, it would be too difficult for him to learn. Lin Xiaoxi was afraid that the erhu was not something that she would be interested in. He might be able to learn the guzheng in the future. Wife, would you like to play a song? Lin Chen said with a smile. Okay. Su Mengyao sat down in front of the piano and after a moment of thought, she began to playing Wedding in a Dream. The melodious sound of the piano resonated in the music room. Lin Chen and Lin Xiaoqian listened quietly. When the song ended, Lin Chen applauded, and Lin Xiaoqian also clapped her hands. You play really well, wife. Lin Chen said with a smile. It was really a treat to watch a beautiful woman like Su Mengyao play. And since Su Mengyao was also his wife, the feeling was even more wonderful. You're great, Mom. Lin Xiaoqian also praised her. Su Mengyao stood up and said, Honey, your piano skills will definitely surpass mine in the future, so I won't teach Sisai anymore. You can teach Sisai piano in the future. You have so much confidence in me? Lin Chen laughed. Su Mengyao nodded, of course I have confidence. Except for not being able to give birth to children, if you told me one day that you could fly, I would believe you. Lin Chen muttered to himself, when his Tai Chi secret technique is very strong and he can easily fly on the grass, he can really fly in the future. But this will take a long, long time. The ancient martial arts Tai Chi secret method takes 50 hours to reach the master level, and it's only been 13 hours so far. The flying on the grass is still far from the master level. And, even at the master level, you can't fly. You have to reach the legendary level of the ancient martial arts Tai Chi secret method. Dad, is giving birth the hardest part? Lin Xiaoqian asked doubtfully. Lin Chen smiled. Su Mengyao explained, Shishi, your father is a man and your mother is a woman. Only women can give birth to children. I see. Lin Xiaoxi felt a little embarrassed. She ran over to the piano and started playing. Lin Chen asked, Honey, can this place be used now? Su Mengyao nodded, it can be used. With the new air system, fresh air will be delivered every moment. In addition, the soundproofing here is quite effective, so playing the piano or fighting in here will not affect others. Lin Chen nodded. Honey, I've made an appointment with Xin Qing to go shopping this afternoon. You're free this afternoon, so you can take Cici with you. Su Mengyao said sweetly. Lin Chen nodded with a smile, no problem. If you're in a hurry, you can leave now. I'll teach Cici the piano for a while and then take her back to bed. I'll leave her with you then. Su Mengyao said and was about to leave. Lin Cici was very relieved to be in Lin Chen's care. Give me a hug before you go. Lin Chen opened his arms. Su Mengyao and Lin Chen embraced. Cici, Mommy and Auntie Qingqing are going shopping. Daddy will take care of you. Lin Xiaoxi nodded. Su Mengyao left Lin Chen and went to the piano. He had already acquired piano skills, so he had no problem teaching Lin Xiaoxi. Daddy, can I be just like Mommy? Lin Xiaoxi asked hopefully. The feeling of the song Su Mengyao just played for her was very good. Of course you can. Maybe you'll even be even better in the future. Lin Chen pinched Lin Xiaoxi's little nose and smiled. Dad, then teach me. Lin Xiaoxi said earnestly. Lin Chen began to teach. 5 minutes passed, and a lot of piano experience kept flooding into Lin Chen's mind. This experience quickly became his own. Half an hour passed and Lin Chen's teaching was over. Cici, that's enough piano for today. You need to go home and get some sleep, and in the afternoon, Daddy will take you swimming. Lin Chen picked up Lin Xiaoqian and smiled. Lin Xiaoqian's constitution was not very good, and she was prone to catching colds. He didn't dare let Lin Xiaoqian go swimming very often, but swimming was a survival skill that she must learn. It was summer, and if she didn't learn how to swim in the summer, when would she learn? Yes. I like playing in the water. Daddy, can we go now? Lin Xiaoxi's eyes lit up with joy. Lin Chen shook his head. No, you can't go swimming now. You'll soon say you're out of battery, so go after you've slept. Lin Xiaoxi fell asleep in less than 5 minutes after returning home. Drip. Yi Hong called. Yi, are you eating well? Lin Chen asked with a smile as he answered the phone. Master Lin, we've eaten all over the world, but we've never tasted anything as delicious as this. Your cooking is superb, Yi Hong exclaimed on the other end of the line. Master Lin, we would like to make a reservation for next month. Lin Chen said, okay. There are not many guests at the moment, so Yi Hong and the others can make a reservation. In the future, it will be more difficult to make such direct reservations. Master Lin, I'll recommend a guest to you. His family only has a few billion in assets, but he has strong connections in the officialdom, which neither you nor I can match. Lin Chen said, as long as the person is reliable. Master Lin, he is quite reliable, and I wouldn't dare recommend someone unreliable to you, Master Lin. His name is Chen Jian. I'll talk to him and give him your number, so he can contact you when the time comes. Yi Hong said. Okay. Yi Hong, Master Lin, I have one last question. My wife loves tea, and she drinks medicine with every meal. Can she drink tea normally? Yes, you can. Most Chinese medicines have an effect, but the Chinese medicine your wife is taking won't have an effect if she drinks tea with it. Just don't drink tea right after taking the medicine. Tea itself is also a medicinal herb. Lin Chandao. Yi Hong let out a sigh of relief. That's a relief. Master Lin, when is your next appointment? Lin Chen thought for a moment. How about the day after tomorrow? I have to work hard when I first start, and then I can relax a bit. Yi Hong. You work hard for 2 days and then slack off for 3. Just as he hung up, another call came in. Editor Chen, what is it? Lin Chen asked as he answered the phone. It was Chen Xinhong on the other end. Chen Xinhong, Master Lin, there are another 30 fairy tales that have not been published, and the 4th fairy tale needs to be published. In addition, the boss said that 1 million copies of the 1st, 2nd and 3rd books will be reprinted. Lin Chen said in surprise, the first 3 books are all sold out? Chen Xinhong laughed on the other end of the phone, almost. The sales were slowing down, but your books started selling overseas, and the overseas popularity drove a wave of popularity in China. Overseas sales have started? Lin Chen said in surprise. He really hadn't paid attention to this. Chen Xinhuan, yes, it is being sold simultaneously in many countries. The market feedback is very good. Chapter 170, I've been taught a lesson by my daughter. Chen Xinhuan quickly sent an electronic contract. The royalties for the new book and the reprint of the old book are the same, 5.4 million, and there is an additional signing bonus of 600,000 for the new book. The total is 22.2 million. Master Lin, the royalty finance will call you soon. In addition, 1,000 copies of the new book will be sent to you as soon as possible. Chen Xinhuan sent a message. Okay. The new book will be delivered to another place. Lin Chen sent the new address to Chen Xinhuan, and his own shop is fine, so there is no need to rent the original one. Okay, Master Lin. Lin Chen looked at the balance of his bank card. The engagement cost more than 10 million, which was originally slightly less than 200 million. With the additional 22 million, it can reach 220 million. By then, he can also receive $10 million in overseas royalties. The little money in his bank card is close to 3 small goals. This is a lot more than the average. But even 3 small goals are less than 1% of the Su family's assets. If you want to make a fortune, painting, calligraphy, basketball, football, cooking, fairy tales, etc. are all very difficult. Being able to earn a few billion is already very, very good. For example, painting. If he only paints a small number of high-quality paintings, each one can sell for a good price, but if he paints a lot, the price will plummet, and the people who buy the paintings will not be happy. In contrast, fairy tales are quite good. This market is quite large. Every year, there will be a steady stream of children born. Lin Chen calculated his skills, and the only skill that would allow him to continue to make a lot of money in the future was aircraft manufacturing. Once he has become very skilled, he can register some patents and make a lot of money every year through them. If he works hard, he can even start his own company. But this skill is also slow to improve. Lin Xiaoqian's interest in folding paper airplanes comes and goes. It's been okay in the past few days, but Lin Chen doesn't know how long Lin Xiaoqian's interest will last this time. Of course, Lin Chen is in no hurry. There's more than enough money to spend, so just let nature take its course. Ding! WeChat message alert. Lin Chen picked up his phone and saw that the message was from Su Mengyao. Honey, do you like this outfit? Su Mengyao asked. She sent a photo. A beautiful person like Su Mengyao would look good in a sack, let alone wearing carefully selected clothes. Lin Chen sent a lewd expression. Wife, do you like it? Look at my expression. Su Mengyao quickly sent a wide-eyed expression. She called. Husband, I just talked to Mom on the phone. Mom said that Mr. Su called her to ask when we were free, and Mr. Su invited us to his house. Su Mengyao said. Lin Chen was surprised. Why didn't Su Laodong contact me directly? I guess Su Laodong wants to talk to you about painting. He might be embarrassed to contact you directly. Are you free tomorrow, honey? Shall we take Cici over there? Of course I'm free. Lin Chen said. Su Laodong is sick, and he hasn't talked to him about this. We can go over there tomorrow and talk about it a little, but we have to be careful about treating him. The Su family is no ordinary family. His current medical skills are only at the master level, not even the grandmaster level. If something goes wrong, he can't take the blame. Honey, then it's settled. Love you, bye. Su Mengyao hung up after saying that. Gee. Xinqing suddenly appeared from behind Su Mengyao. Some people are really sweet with their husbands. Su Mengyao. Xinqing, do you still want to eat dinner with us in the future? Xinsheng hurriedly said, yes, forget I said it. Su Mengyao said, I bought my clothes, she doesn't like clothes, let's go shopping for men's clothes. I'll buy Lin Chen a few suits, he doesn't have many clothes in his wardrobe. Yes, my queen. In the evening, Lin Chen and Lin Xiaoxi came out of the hotel. He took Lin Xiaoxi swimming. Lin Xiaoxi swam not in an ordinary pool, but in a heated pool in a 5-star hotel. Ordinary pools are crowded and the water quality is not good. Lin Chen picked this 5-star hotel's heated pool, which is very expensive, but it has its advantages. The water quality is not bad. Dad, stop for a while. Lin Xiaoqian suddenly said. Lin Chen quickly pulled over and stopped the car. Cici, what's wrong? Lin Xiaoqian looked out the window. Dad, look, there's an old man over there. He looks so pitiful, can we go help him? Lin Chen looked across the road. An old man of about 80 was hunched over, very thin and carrying a large basket on his back. The basket contained things he had picked up. Dad, can we go help him? I have money. Lin Xiaoxi said in a baby voice. Lin Chen nodded, of course you can. It's good that you have a kind heart, Xiaoxi. But outside, if Mummy and Daddy aren't around, you can't help. Why? Lin Xiaoqian was puzzled. Lin Chen explained, some bad people are very, very bad. They will take advantage of the kindness of children. So when you help others, you must be careful to protect yourself. Lin Xiaoqian nodded. Lin Chen hugged Lin Xiaoqian and walked across the street. Elderly man, where is your family? Lin Chen asked. The elderly man put down the basket. His voice was hoarse as he said, I don't have anyone at home anymore, so I have no choice but to work. A person is like iron, food is like steel. If you don't eat, you'll get hungry, so you have to go out and find something to eat. Lin Chen was moved. He was now living a better life thanks to his adventures, but what had he given back to society? Grandpa, don't be sad. Dad, I have some New Year's money. Can you give the old man 10 yuan? Lin Xiaoxi asked. She had learned addition and subtraction up to 10 in math, and Lin Chen had not taught her anything beyond that. Of course you can. Lin Chen nodded. He had put some cash in the car and just brought it down. Lin Chen counted out 2,000 yuan and handed it to the old man. Old man, this is a little something from my daughter and me. Please take it. The old man hurriedly said, I can't do that. How can I take money from a little girl? Lin Chen put it in the old man's basket and quickly left. Thank you. The old man shouted after him. Shishi, you taught your father a lesson today. Lin Chen said as they got back in the car. Lin Xiaoxi was puzzled. Dad, what lesson? Lin Chen, a life lesson. Dad, I don't understand. What do you mean? Lin Chen started the car and laughed. Shishi, it's okay if you don't understand now, you'll understand later. When they got home, Su Mengyao was already back. Mom, do you have my New Year's money? Lin Xiaoxi asked. Su Mengyao nodded, I have it. What's wrong? Lin Xiaoxi asked, Mom, does my New Year's money have 10 cents? I borrowed 10 cents from Dad. Yes. Honey, what's going on? Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen. Lin Chen said, Cici saw a poor old man on the street. She taught me a lesson. She and I each gave the old man 1,000 yuan. Wife, do you know of a reliable charity foundation? Chapter 171, Sisai Charity Foundation. Su Mengyao asked, are you going to donate money, honey? Lin Chen nodded, yes, Sisai taught me a lesson. God has been very good to me, so I want to give back to society by donating some money every year. But I don't want the money I donate to be used to buy someone a bag. Su Mengyao said, our company donates some money every year to the Han Hong Foundation. It's relatively good. How much are you going to donate, honey? Lin Chen, 10 to 30 million yuan a year. If I earn more, I'll donate more. If I earn less, I'll donate less. Su Mengyao looks at Lin Chen in surprise. That's a lot. She adds, honey, it's not that I'm reluctant to give. You can do as you wish with your money. Many rich people don't donate as much as that. Our company donates an average of a few million yuan a year. Lin Chen laughs, that's company money. The other shareholders won't agree if you donate too much. When a company makes a donation, it has to consider how much reputation it can gain in return. I don't have to consider any of that. This donation doesn't exceed the income from one book, so it's still completely affordable for me. Su Mengyao nodded. If you donate this much every year, there's no need to donate to other foundations. You can set up your own private charity foundation. Lin Chen shook his head, do you think I'm that hardworking? I don't have time to mess with this. Su Mengyao. I'll find someone to manage it for you, you just need to give the money. Lin Chen laughed, then there won't be a problem. What do you think of calling it the Sisai Charity Foundation? Su Mengyao, not the Lin Yu Foundation? It's easier to recruit volunteers if it's called that. Lin Chen shook his head. There's a lot of trouble with a lot of people. Don't accept volunteers or donations from others, just quietly give the money to the people in need. The foundation should operate low-key and not advertise. Also, the foundation mainly helps poor orphans. Su Mengyao nodded, got it. Lin Xiaoxi listened very carefully next to her, and she said in a baby voice, Daddy, are you going to help other children? Yes. Lin Chen stroked Lin Xiaoxi's head and said gently, "Mom, how much New Year's money do I still have?" Su Mengyao laughed, "You have more than 500,000 New Year's money." Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao in surprise. "CC has this much New Year's money?" The money in his bank card before didn't even amount to 1/10 of Lin Xiaoqian's New Year's money. Lin Xiaoqian's New Year's money was enough to buy a house in a small place. Su Mengyao said, "During the New Year, my parents gave her 100,000 yuan each in New Year's money, and for birthdays and other occasions, my parents and other people also gave her red envelopes. I saved it all for her, and that's how much there is." Lin Xiaoqian said confusedly, "Mom, how much is 500,000 yuan? How many hundreds of dollars are there? I can't count that." Lin Chen said with a smile, "There are a lot of 100 cents. Hee, that's good. Dad, I'll give it all to you." Lin Xiaoqian said happily. Lin Chen knelt down and kissed Lin Xiaoqian. "Xiaoqian, do you want to donate all your New Year's money?" I don't want New Year's money, I have mommy and daddy." Lin Xiaoqian said seriously. Su Mengyao, "Sisai, then your mother will donate it for you, and you can't cry in the future." "I won't. I want a toy, and daddy will buy it for me, hee. Lin Xiaoqian kissed Lin Chen. Su Mengyao, "Honey, I don't have a lot of cash, but I have to support it a little. I'll donate 5 million. Su Mengyao owns a lot of the Su family shares, and these shares are worth a lot of money, but Su Mengyao's personal bank account only has tens of millions. And most of it is in fixed-term deposits. There are very few people like Lin Chen, with over 200 million in demand deposits in their bank accounts. My dear, you don't need to worry about money right now. Cici and I have enough to spend for quite some time, so you can donate after we've spent it all." Lin Chen smiled. Su Mengyao nodded, "I'll find the right person to get this sorted out as soon as possible." Lin Chen knew that he was not good at this kind of thing, and he didn't have time to mess with it, but for Su Mengyao, handling this kind of thing was very simple. The Su Group had assets of tens of billions of dollars, and she could control it all, so what was a small charity foundation to her? "Hubby, I bought you some new clothes. Go try them on and see if they fit, and if they don't, I'll go change them for you." Su Mengyao pointed to a few bags on the sofa. "Mom, do I have new clothes?" Lin Xiaoxi's eyes lit up and she asked. "Of course I do. How could I forget about our Shishi?" Lin Chen quickly tried on the clothes that Su Mengyao had bought for him. There were 3 sets in total, and the sizes fit perfectly. "Wife, these clothes aren't cheap, are they?" Lin Chen asked. Su Mengyao, "They're fine, they're not expensive. Each set is about 10,000 yuan. Lin Chen. A summer suit is 10,000 yuan, that's expensive. In the past, a summer suit of his was only 100 to 200 yuan. Thank you, wife. Here, give me a kiss. Lin Chen said with a smile. Don't mess around, she is here. Su Mengyao said coquettishly. Lin Xiaoxi covered her eyes. I can't see, Dad, you better kiss mommy quickly. She said and opened her little fingers. Drip. Lin Chen's phone suddenly rang. It was an unfamiliar number, and the number belonged to the imperial capital. Hello? Lin Chen answered the phone. On the other end of the line was Chen Jian, who Yi Hong had mentioned. Is this Lin Chen? Chen Jian asked. I'm Lin Chen, and you are? Chen Jian, Xiaolin, my name is Chen Jian. I heard from Mr. Yi that you are a very good cook. My father is getting old and doesn't want to travel, so can you come to the imperial capital? Lin Chen said, Mr. Chen, I'm sorry, I have to take care of my child, and it's inconvenient for me to go out. Besides, my restaurant is here. On the other end of the phone, Chen Jian frowned and said, Lin Chen, you're a young man, what's the harm in running around a bit? Young people still need to move around more. I heard that Ji Zong said it's 1 million per meal, and with such a high price, the service had better be good, don't you think? Lin Chen calmly said, Chen Jian, I'm really sorry, but for me, taking care of my child is the most important thing. That's it then. Chen Jian hung up the phone directly after he finished speaking. Su Mengyao, honey, what's wrong? Lin Chen shook his head. President Yi introduced someone called Chen Jian, who asked me to go to the imperial capital. Chen Jian, I know him. He has a good reputation and is a filial son. His father doesn't want to make the trip, so naturally he wants you to go. Su Mengyao said, the Chen family isn't as rich as my family, but the Chen family's overall strength is stronger than ours. Lin Chen smiled faintly and said, let him be. I got into this to make friends, but if I need to go and lick their boots, then forget it. I'll give Yi Zong a call. Lin Chen went into the study. He dialed Yi Hong's phone number, but it didn't go through. It said the call was in progress. 2 minutes later, Yi Hong called back. Master Lin, I was just talking to President Chen. I'm really sorry, I didn't make myself clear. You can't leave, President Chen's father doesn't want to move either. Lin Chen, it's fine, no pressure. Chapter 172, Barely World Class. Wu Family. Wu Yangfeng arrived at his brother Wu Yangcheng. Brother, I feel a little uneasy in my heart. The two went to the study and Wu Yangfeng said. Why are you uneasy? Wu Yangcheng asked. Wu Yangfeng said in silence for a while, you said you wanted to investigate Lin Chen, so I found someone to try to get into Lin Chen's house, but they couldn't get in touch with them. Can't get in touch? Wu Yangcheng said in a daze. Well, my people told me before they moved that they found someone who was very good at picking locks and guaranteed that it would be done without anyone noticing. But after they went, there was no news, and their phones were switched off. Wu Yangfeng said. Wu Yangcheng's face changed slightly. You didn't use your own phone, did you? Could it be that they were arrested by the police? Wu Yangfeng shook his head. They weren't arrested by the police. I secretly checked. Besides, I contacted them using a different phone, so no one can find it. Wu Yangcheng paced around. Do you suspect that Lin Chen secretly hired bodyguards to arrest them? If so, Lin Chen may ask your people to find out if we are acting. Wu Yangfeng nodded. I do have that worry. Wu Yangcheng considered for a moment and said, don't panic, it's not a big deal. Lin Chen and the others wouldn't dare to hold your people for long, they should release them soon. Brother, could it be that? Wu Yangfeng gestured with his hand towards his neck. Wu Yangcheng shook his head, it's not that serious, they wouldn't kill someone over this. You just wait patiently for a day or two, when they restrict personal freedom, they'll be the ones who suffer. Wu Yangfeng nodded. You've seen big storms before, so why are you panicking over this? Wu Yangfeng lit a cigarette and took a deep drag, because I can't read Lin Chen. He's very ordinary, but why do people like Su Lao look at him differently? He doesn't feel very good about it. Wu Yangcheng said in a deep voice, it's certain that he has people behind him, but they shouldn't be able to be too strong. Otherwise, would our Wu family still be doing well today? You go to the demon capital. When your people come out, go find Lin Chen. They should give an explanation for restricting personal freedom for so long. Wu Yangfeng nodded. Shi, practice hard. In the shop, Lin Chen was teaching Lin Xiaoqian Tai Chi. Lin Xiaoqian imitated and studied carefully. Knock, knock. The sound of knocking came as Gu Ji Tai Chi had just finished. Lin Chen opened the door, and outside was Li Lin, who had come to deliver books. Master Lin. Li Lin, the driver, said respectfully. Li Lin, thank you for your trouble again. The two men carried down several boxes of books from the cart, and Li Lin went out again to deliver a few more boxes of books. Master Lin, please call me when you are ready. Li Lin said respectfully. Although Lin Chen is young, he is the master of Linyu, and Lin Chen is now very famous on the internet. His fairy tales have already become popular all over the world. Lin Chen smiled and said, you should get some rest. I'm going to be out signing autographs until noon. Why don't you come back in the evening? Okay. Li Lin nodded. Li Lin soon left. Lin Chen said, Shishi, you play for a while, I need to work. Dad, I'll watch you work. Lin Xiaoxi said. Soon Lin Chen began signing autographs, and Lin Xiaoxi watched by his side. In the span of 5 minutes, a wealth of writing experience flooded into Lin Chen's mind. Lin Chen was surprised. How could he have gained writing experience? Cici, are you learning how to write from Dad? Lin Chen asked, looking at Lin Xiaoxi. Yes. When I can write nicely, I can help you, Dad. Lin Xiaoxi said in a baby voice. Lin Chen smiled, then you better study hard. If you write nicely, Dad will let you help. Lin Chen continued, and Lin Xiaoxi continued to watch attentively. Lin Chen's autographing time was short for each book, and she was not immersed in it. Drip. The phone rang before she finished signing. The caller was Su Mengyao. Honey, Su Lao is urging us, I've driven to the shop. Cici, let's go. Lin Chen picked up Lin Xiaoxi and left. Su Mengyao moved to the passenger seat, and Lin Chen told Lin Xiaoxi to sit properly before driving off. Su Mengyao said, "Honey, I found the person in charge of the foundation." "So soon?" Lin Chen was surprised. "Su Mengyao, I asked my father to find someone. He knows a lot of people, and this one is more reliable. Whether or not he is actually used, you can meet him when the time comes. If you don't think he's suitable, we can change him." Lin Chen nodded. "You can give me some information about him when the time comes." "Okay." Lin Xiaoqian, who was sitting in the back row, spoke up, "Mom and Dad, let's sing." "Dad, you go first." "Okay." Lin Chen smiled. He sang. Su Mengyao and Lin Xiaoxi listened attentively. Su Mengyao felt that Lin Chen's singing was getting better and better. "Dad, I'll do it," Lin Xiaoxi said as she finished singing. She hadn't finished singing yet, and Lin Chen began to gain singing experience. Lin Xiaoxi was now learning in a way. Just as Lin Xiaoxi was about to finish singing, the voice of the system sounded in Lin Chen's mind, "Host, your singing skills have reached the level of Grandmaster." A lot of information flooded into Lin Chen's mind. Lin Xiaoqian's singing talent also instantly improved a lot. Lin Chen estimated that her singing talent was less than 20, and now it has doubled, and it is estimated to reach the 30s. The difference between a talent of 10 and 30 is still quite large. "Mom and Dad, I'll sing it again. I feel like I can sing it a little better." Lin Xiaoqian finished singing. "Okay, Cici, you can do it again," Lin Chen said with a smile. Lin Xiaoqian continued, and Su Mengyao's eyes revealed a look of surprise. She could clearly feel the difference between the two performances. Lin Xiaoqian seemed to have suddenly opened up. Although it wasn't particularly amazing, Lin Xiaoqian was only a little over 2 years old, and she was already doing very well to sing like that. "Cici, you sang very well," Su Mengyao said after Lin Xiaoqian finished singing. "Husband, does Cici have a talent in this area?" Lin Chen laughed and said, "Of course she has talent. I think she'll be fine as a karaoke star in the future. But she's more talented in math and drawing." "Is the difference that big?" Su Mengyao asked. Lin Chen nodded, "It's quite big. Her talent in singing, if cultivated, should be able to reach the provincial level, and her math and drawing are world class. But there's no need to be so utilitarian. If she likes to sing, I'll teach her too." Su Mengyao, "Husband, what level is your singing?" Lin Chen smiled slightly. He had just reached the Grandmaster level. Barely world class. This is something that I practice less often, but it's still okay. Su Mengyao. She pouted, "Honey, that's just too Versailles of you. What do you mean, barely world class? What more do you want?" Lin Chen laughed, "My cooking, fairy tale writing, painting, calligraphy, and even my driving skills are all better." Su Mengyao was stunned. "Your driving skills are better?" Lin Chen said, "I drive more than I sing. I drive a lot, so my driving skills naturally improve." "Honey, it's your turn to sing." Shishi, give a round of applause. Lin Xiaoxi clapped her hands, "Mom, you sing soon." Chapter 173 Lin Xiaolin, you know how to heal? Uncle Su, Auntie Huang. Lin Chen and Su Mengyao greeted the Su family. Grandpa Su. Lin Xiaoxi also called people softly and sweetly. "Cici is really good." Grandpa Su said kindly, "Cici, this little girl is Lon Lon, Grandpa specially brought her over, you can play together." "Lon Lon, you call uncle and auntie." A little girl of 4 or 5 quickly called out to Lin Chen and the others. "She is Nan Nan, and I am Shi. Lin Xiaoqian giggled. Old Su beamed and said, "Shi, Lon Lon is the Chinese character for orchid. Lon Lon, you are the young master, and you are the older sister, so you will play with Shi, okay?" "Mm-hmm." Lon Lon nodded obediently. "Shi, let's go play." Lon Lon took Lin Xiaoqian's hand and led her to her room. "Lin Xiaoqian, I've been waiting for you. I've drawn a few paintings these past few days, what do you think?" Su Lao said cheerfully. "Su Lao, I can't say I'm giving you pointers, let's just exchange ideas." Lin Chen smiled. "Su Lao, Lin Xiaoqian, you're just flattering me, my level is so much lower than yours." Lin Chen and Su Lao went to the study, while Su Zhongting's wife chatted with Su Zhongting's wife in the kitchen. "Lin Sen, please take a look. My level hasn't improved in a long time, and it's unlikely that I'll make any progress. But if I can learn more before I die, I won't have any regrets," said Su Laoda. Lin Sun looked at a Chinese painting on the table. Su Laoda's level was quite good. The painting was very well done, but Su Laoda did not reach the level of a master of traditional Chinese painting. His title as a master of traditional Chinese painting was a bit of a sham. As for why others called him a master of traditional Chinese painting, everyone who understood it understood it. Of course, compared to some so-called masters on the internet who are nothing, his is of high quality, and he is just a little bit short of being a master of traditional Chinese painting. Mr. Su, let me be honest. You have not yet become a master of traditional Chinese painting, but your level is only one step away from that. You are stuck and unable to make progress. Lin Chen said. Mr. Su nodded. Lin Chen, you are right. In the past, I felt that I was already a master of traditional Chinese painting, and some people even praised me as such. Later, when I retired and had not yet been promoted to the Hall of Masters, I knew from some changes that I had not yet become a master of traditional Chinese painting. Then later, when I was promoted to the Hall of Masters, my level improved again. Lin Chen, Master Su, this is only natural. Master Su nodded slightly. Master Su, with your decades of experience, I think it is entirely possible for you to break through and become a master of traditional Chinese painting. Let me explain. Lin Chen spoke in detail. At his level, he could clearly see the problems with Su Laosher's paintings and also point out the way forward for him. Time passed by minute, and Lin Chen pointed out all of Su Laosher's recent paintings. Su Laosher was thoughtful and enlightened. Phew. After a while, Su Laosher let out a sigh. It's a pity. If I could live a little longer, I might be able to make a breakthrough, but now I don't think there's much chance. Regret was in Su Lao's eyes. He looked fine on the outside, but his illness was very serious. The doctor had made it clear to him that he could only live for another 2 or 3 years. And most of the time in the future, he would have to lie in the hospital. Lin Chen, Su Lao, I know a bit of medicine, let me take your pulse? Su Lao looked at Lin Chen in surprise. Lin Xiao, you also know medicine? He knew that Lin Chen was Lin Yu, and Lin Chen's fairy tales, calligraphy, and painting skills were all extremely high, but he also knew medicine? A little. Cece's constitution is not very good, so I've learned a little. Lin Chen smiled. Su Lao sat down and placed his hand on the table. Lin Chen placed his fingers on his pulse point and quickly finished taking his pulse. Su Laosher, I don't have a medical license, so I can't treat people, but I know an ancient recipe that should be of great use to you. If you insist on taking the medicine, you may be able to last 4 or 5 years. Within 3 years, you should be able to live a normal life without too many problems. Lin Chen said after a moment's consideration. Su Lao and Su Zhongting were overjoyed. Su Zhongting hurriedly said, Lin Chen, are you sure? Lin Chen shook his head and said, Uncle Su, I'm not sure, but this ancient prescription will do no harm even if it doesn't work. Su Lao asked, Lin Chen, be honest, what level is your current medical skill in the country? Lin Chen said, Su Lao, it's hard to say. I don't know what other people's level is like either. Take a guess. Su Zhongting looked forward to an honest answer. Lin Chen, if my medical skills are high enough, the ancient prescriptions I just mentioned may not be ancient prescriptions at all, but prescriptions that I have prescribed myself. Some ancient prescriptions are indeed very good. But traditional Chinese medicine is not a set of fixed rules. Everyone's situation is different, and even the same prescription needs to be adjusted appropriately. For the same illness, if the same medicine is used, one person may get better, but the other may die from the strong medicine. Su Zhongting, Lin Chen, be honest and don't be modest. Lin Chendao, I know a bit about both traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine. Combining the two, I should be in the top 10 in the country. Su Lao. Su Zhongting said with a strange look on his face, Lin, is this what you mean by knowing a bit? If this is what you mean by knowing a bit, almost all the doctors in the country can be laid off. Lin Chendao laughed, Uncle Su, you really believe in me? Su Zhongting said, with your level of painting, calligraphy, etc., do you need to exaggerate this? Su Lao, Zhongting, find someone to get Lin a medical license. Okay. Su Zhongting nodded. He was the first deputy mayor, so this was not difficult for him. He would not do it for anyone else, because if there were problems due to insufficient standards, he would have to take the blame as well. He was not afraid of getting Lin a license. Uncle Su, is this not against the rules? Lin Chen asked. Su Zhongting, in principle, an examination is required, but many old Chinese doctors only have experience and they would fail the examination. The people have needs, so special cases can only be handled in a special way. But whoever does it has to be responsible. Lin Chen, Uncle Su, then I thank you in advance. Su Zhonting waved his hand. I should thank you. Lin Chen, is there any hope of curing my father's illness? There is. Lin Chen nodded. Su Lao and Su Zhonting looked at Lin Chen with excitement. Lin Chen continued, not yet. With my current medical skills, I am not 100% sure I can cure him, but there is no problem delaying the progression of the disease. There should be no problem curing him next year. It is June now, and the year is still long. Western medicine can be improved by playing Dr. Toys with Shishi. The requirements are not that high, and it is certain that it can reach legendary level this year. From ancient Chinese medicine to grandmaster level, and from Western medicine to legendary level, there will be no problem curing Mr. Su. Su Zhonting said, Lin Xiao, after delaying the illness, there will be no symptoms this year, and it will be completely cured by next year? Lin Chen nodded. Both Su Laoshi and Su Zhonting were overjoyed. Inviting Lin Chen and the others over to play, they unexpectedly got such good news. Su Laoshi, you guys have to keep this a secret for me. I don't want a bunch of people looking for me to cure them when the time comes. Lin Chen reminded them. Chapter 174, The Su family is shocked. Su Zhonting asked doubtfully, Lin Xiao, isn't it good for other people to seek treatment from you? Powerful people seeking you out can give you very strong connections. Lin Chen, Uncle Su, my medical skills are not good enough. On the other hand, she has not yet started kindergarten, and I want to spend more time with her before she goes to kindergarten. If some bigwigs ask me to come here one day and run there the next, I'll be running around every day, and I'll definitely spend much less time with Shishi. His system is a Father of the Year system, and he can't teach Lin Xiaoxi, so his skills won't improve. It's more important to become stronger than to improve your connections. That's true. Some people can't go everywhere, and some people's loved ones are even in the hospital, so it's troublesome for you to run around. Su Zhonting said. Lin Chen, I didn't spend enough time with Xiaoxi before, so I definitely have to do a good job of being a father now. Su Zhonting nodded, and then your medical license, why don't you just get it later? You don't have this thing, and even if someone comes to the door, you have a reason to refuse. Okay. I don't need this in a hurry either. Lin Chen said. The current medical skills seem low to him, and he needs to improve to the level of a grandmaster in ancient medicine and a legend in Western medicine. By then, his connections will be much stronger than they are now, and it will be impossible for some people without enough weight to order him around. Lin Chen, whenever you want it, just let me know, about a week in advance is fine. Su Zhonting said. Okay, thanks, Uncle Su. Lin Chen said. Su Lao laughed, if you can cure me, our whole family will have to thank you properly. I can't drink in my condition, so Zhonting will drink with you at lunch. Su Zhonting, my drinking capacity is not bad, but compared to Lin Chen, my drinking capacity can only go to the children's table. Uncle Su, let's just relax. Lin Chen smiled. Su Lao, lunch will probably take a while. Lin Sin, why don't you draw a picture? A big leader up there really likes traditional Chinese painting. I'll take your painting to show him. He probably won't accept your painting, but if he sees it, it will definitely benefit you in the future. Lin Chen nodded. Su Lao is looking for a big backer for him. Soon, Su Lao took out paper and pen. The paper he took out this time was better than the one he usually used. After some consideration, Lin Chen started to draw. He drew an old, but still proud, knight on an old, but still strong, horse. Giddy up, giddy up. Lao Su and Zhonting Su were immersed in the artistic conception of the painting. They seemed to hear the knight's roar and the horse's neigh. Although they were not young anymore, they were still galloping thousands of miles. Although a tortoise lives a long life. Although the divine tortoise lives a long life, there comes a time for it to die. The Ouroboros rides the fog, but it will eventually turn to dust. An old steed in its stable still aspires to travel 1,000 li. A martyr in his twilight years remains full of courage. Lin Chen took up his brush and wrote Cao Cao's poem. Phew! They only came out of the painting's artistic conception after he had finished writing the poem. Ha! They were stunned. When had Lin Chen written the poem? Had they been immersed in it for so long? Soon they began to appreciate the poem written by Lin Chen. They were once again immersed in the artistic conception of the calligraphy. Knock, knock. Someone knocked on the door. Su Menyao's voice sounded outside the door. Honey, Auntie Huang told me to wake you up, dinner is ready. Phew! Su Laozhong and Su Zhongting were startled awake. They looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Lin Chen's talent is truly abnormal. His painting and calligraphy have reached such a terrifying level. Old Su, we are going out to eat. Lin Chen smiled. Old Su nodded, and he took a deep breath and said, Lin Chen, I will try my best to get that big leader to accept this painting of yours. Lin Chen said, Old Su, I am not giving you the painting, I am only lending it to you to look at, and you have to give it back to me later. You have to write me a loan note later. Old Su was stunned and laughed, that's good. You drew a good painting, and there is no problem for us to borrow it to appreciate and learn from. Soon Lin Chen and the others arrived outside. Grandpa, Sisai is so amazing. Lan Lan said to Su Laozhong and the others. Su Zhongting asked, Lan, how is Sisai amazing? Lan, she hasn't even started kindergarten yet, but she's so fast at addition and subtraction, I can't beat her. She can also draw, and her drawings are really beautiful. Su Zhongting glanced at Lin Chen. Lin Chen is so good at drawing, so Lin Xiaoxi must have inherited her talent. Cici can also speak English, which I can do too, hee. The two little ones started speaking to each other in English. Lin Chen was secretly impressed. He had also become stronger since the system had been updated. Previously, he had been unable to compete with children like Lan. While ordinary people find it too much of a hassle to learn English, the children of the rich and powerful have already mastered the language. Linsen, Meng Yao, and Lan have been learning English for a few years, and Cici is still so young, but she is already so fluent in English. Su Zhongting exclaimed in amazement. Su Mengyao laughed and said, although I have taught Cici before, her English was only so-so. It is basically her father's credit that she has reached this level. Su Zhongting said in surprise, Linsen, you also know English? I know a little. Su Zhongting. They don't believe Lin Chen's a little now. Su Zhongting, you said a little is pretty good. Su Zhongting's wife asked, Lan is only moderately talented in other areas, but she is quite talented in languages. Do you think she is talented in English? Maybe you should consider letting her pursue a diplomatic career in the future. In wealthy families like Su Zhongting's, the children's paths can be clearly arranged from a young age. While the children of ordinary people take detours, their children are already racing along the planned path. Does the diplomatic route require knowing several languages? Lin Chen asked. Su Zhongting's wife nodded, yes, but we don't know which other foreign language she is more talented in. For now, let her focus on English. Lan, read after me and see if you can pronounce it correctly. Lin Chen looked at Lan and smiled. He spoke in English. The sentences he spoke were quite difficult. Even if you have studied English before, it is not easy to imitate and read without talent. 2 minutes passed and Lin Chen smiled and said, Auntie Huan, Lan is talented in English. I'll try her in another language. 10 minutes passed, and Lin Chen tried Russian, French, Japanese, German, Arabic, Portuguese, Spanish, and about 10 other foreign languages. Auntie Huang, I personally feel that Lan is more talented in French and Arabic, and not so talented in the rest. Su Zhongting curiously asked, Xiaolin, how many foreign languages do you know? I haven't counted. 20 or 30, I think. Lin Chen said. Su Lao and the others were completely stunned. It's not easy for an ordinary person to learn one foreign language, and Lin Chen can actually speak 20 or 30, which is really amazing. Xiaolin, you're amazing. Su Zhongting said with a thumbs up. His wife said happily, Xiaolin, thank you. Identifying where your talents lie is much better than learning blindly. Chapter 175, Will there be technology and hard work? After a short break after dinner, Lin Chen and the others said their goodbyes and left. Dad, honey, Linsen really helped us a lot, he even determined where Lan's talent lies. Su Zhongting's wife said joyfully. They could have asked someone else, but no one else is as strong in every subject as Lin Chen, nor is anyone else as thorough as Lin Chen. No one else's judgment is as accurate as Lin Chen's. Lan may have to study each subject for a period of time before she can get anywhere. That would waste a lot of time. That's not the only thing. Lin Chen is very skilled in medicine, he will be able to cure Dad in the future. Su Zhongting said. His wife looked at Su Laoshi in surprise, Dad, is that true? If so, that would be great. There are many ordinary families that would dislike their elderly, but in a family like the Zus, having an elderly family member is like having a treasure. The elderly are still connected to their social circles when they are alive. If Su Laoshi lives a few more years, Su Zhongting will be able to rise even higher. Really? Su Laowei smiled. No one else would believe him if they said that, and he might even think that Su Zhongting and the others had hired him to reassure him. But Lin Chen said that he could cure Su Laowei, and Su Laowei fully believed him. Lin Chen's talent was there for all to see. Lin Chen knew 20 or 30 foreign languages, so it was only natural that he was a skilled doctor. Many of those languages Lin Chen might not even need, but Lin Chen really needed his medical skills. You guys chat. Su Laowei said, and went to his study. Su Zhongting scolded his wife a little and then went to the study as well. Dad, let me take another look. Su Zhongting said as he reached the desk. The painting Lin Chen had drawn was placed on top of the desk. Priceless, this is priceless. Su Zhongting said excitedly. Dad, Lin Chen didn't sign it. Su Zhongting shook his head and pointed at the characters on it. Who but Lin Chen could write such calligraphy? As long as he wrote the characters, they are his signature. That's true. Su Zhongting nodded. Dad, don't be in a hurry to send it in. Let's keep it at home and admire it for a few days. No. Su Zhongting shook his head. If you want to admire it quickly. It's not safe to keep it at home. What if it gets stolen? Book me a flight to the capital city this afternoon. So urgent? Su Zhongting looked at the painting and was reluctant to part with it. Safety is the most important thing. Su Zhongting said sternly. Su Zhongting quickly booked an air ticket for Su Lao, and half an hour later Su Lao got into the car and went to the airport. In the imperial capital, Yi Hong arrived first. He was carrying a bag, and inside the bag was a thermos. Inside the thermos were frozen dishes. The dishes inside had been packed before they even started eating. They had eaten a few dishes before packing, but there were still some left. After Lin Chen left, they packed first, and packed up all the dishes they hadn't touched. Hello, Mr. Yi. Mr. Chen asked me to come and pick you up. Someone greeted Yi Hong politely as he came out of the exit. Thanks. Yi Hong quickly got into the business car sent by Chen Jian. After more than an hour, Yi Hong arrived at the Chen family. Dad, you have to eat at least a little. How can you keep up your strength if you don't eat? Chen Jian was persuading his old father, Chen Xinghua. His mother died young and was brought up by his father. Chen Jian is very filial to his father. Uncle Chen, Mr. Chen. Yi Hong greeted with a smile. Chen Jian, Lao Yi, you've come at the right time. Please persuade my father for me. He's old, but still behaves like a child. Sometimes I have to persuade him to eat. Mr. Yi. Chen Xinghua smiled and greeted Yi Hong. Don't listen to him. Not eating for a meal won't kill you. In the past, when we were at war, it was normal not to eat for a day or two. Yi Hong took out a lunchbox from his bag. Uncle Chen, I brought you a box of vegetables. Mr. Chen, why don't you try it by heating it up in the microwave for Uncle Chen? Chen Jian looked at Yi Hong and said, Mr. Yi, did Lin Chen make this? He sounds young, but he has a lot of character. Yi Hong said, Mr. Chen, I told you on the phone that his cooking is delicious, but I simply can't describe it. It's my fault for misleading you. Chen Jian looked at the dish Yi Hong had sent over. Yi Hong had sent it over from such a long way away, and he could not let him down with his intentions. Dad, Yi Zong sent it over from such a long way away, so you should eat more later. Chen Jian said. The nanny was not there, so Chen Jian warmed the dish himself. As soon as he opened the microwave, he smelled a fragrance. Guliolu. Chen Jian couldn't help but swallow. Dad, try it, it smells so good. Chen Jian took the dish out. Chen Xinghua sniffed, and indeed it smelled good. The smell instantly whetted his appetite. I'll try some. Chen Xinghua said. He picked up the chopsticks and quickly tasted a piece of meat. With this bite, he felt like all his taste buds had been opened. Quickly, Chen Xinghua took a second bite. This time, he didn't pick up the meat, but the taste was just as good. Yi Zong, is this what you told us to eat? Chen Xinghua asked. Yi Hong nodded. Master Lin is a master of cooking, so I wanted to let you try it with Uncle Chen. This is leftover food, so the taste will be a bit off. Chen Xinghua was shocked. The taste is still off? Dad, let me try. Chen Jian went to the kitchen and got a pair of chopsticks. When the dish reached his mouth, Chen Jian was stunned. Why could the dish taste so good? Yi Zong, could there be technology in hard work? Chen Jian asked, this dish is too delicious. Yi Hong shook his head, impossible. Master Lin's wife is Su Mengyao from the Su family. Chen Jian's eyes revealed a look of surprise. He knew Su Mengyao, the Su family has tens of billions of assets. I haven't heard that Su Mengyao got married. Yi Hong, they got married, and a while ago they got engaged in a low-key manner. The witnesses included Su Laoshi and Su Zhongting from the Su family. Su Laoshi and the others still value Lin Chen very much. Chen Jian was even more surprised. He knew that Su Zhongting was the executive vice mayor of the Demon Capital, and Su Lao's previous position was not lower than this, and Su Lao had a very good personal relationship with a major leader in the imperial capital. President Yi, you didn't say any of this before. Chen Jian said. Yi Hong, it's my fault, I didn't make it clear. Chen Xinghua shook his head, how can you be blamed for this? Under normal circumstances, why would you mention Lin Chen's personal matters to others? If we are to blame, we can only blame ourselves for not being imaginative enough. The food is actually so delicious. Chen Jian said with some embarrassment, Mr. Yi, I didn't realize that Lin Chen's cooking was so good. $1 million a meal is not a small price, and my father doesn't want to run, so I was thinking that he could come here. Can you talk to Lin Chen for me? I want to make a reservation for a few tables. Yi Hong nodded, I'll talk to Master Lin for you. He quickly dialed Lin Chen's phone number. Lin Chen was in his shop at the moment, having finished signing the remaining books, which Li Lin had boxed up and taken away. What's the good news, Yi? Lin Chen asked with a smile. Yi Hong, Master Lin, I'm here in the imperial capital. I'm here with President Chen, who wants to make a reservation.